Yo, what it do, guys? It's your boy YouTube Juice, man. I had to plug in tonight. I wasn't even going to stream tonight, but I was like, you know what? Let's see who's up tonight, man. Let's talk about it. I mean, today was probably the most driest day this entire time. I mean, it seems like it's been a repetitive thing. We're back to square one again, guys. Let's just be real. We're back to square one, and I feel like this thing's been so much everywhere that everyone's just confused at this point, overwhelmed. They don't know what to think. We're lost in the sauce right now. We had 3 suspects detained last night, and I think we were all just so hopeful that we found them, and then it turns out these weren't the guys. A lot of confusion last night. It was a little bit confusing as to what was going on. I just don't understand why they would take a Range Rover and obviously, they're going to rip this thing apart. They're going to get all the DNA they can, and there's obviously something they saw in that Range Rover that we don't know about. Still waiting for a press, haven't got a press. I'm just kind of getting frustrated myself. Like, we just need to know something, guys. We need to know something, bro. We've been so helpful as a community. The public has been more in tune than I've ever seen in my entire life with anything. I wanted to plug in tonight because I saw a couple great videos that I wanted to share with everybody tonight, and you know, give everybody something to watch and talk about tonight. It's been a very dry day. I think we've all had a lot of time to kind of sit down and reflect on this whole thing, but we're just all hopeful that we'll hear something. We'll wake up tomorrow morning and we'll hear that maybe they found Nancy, maybe they found these suspects, maybe we got a real lead. Nothing. Just nothing. I'm also hearing that this thing could possibly even go on for years, or it may take up to a year to figure this whole thing out. It's just been so everywhere. I mean, I'm kind of lost in the sauce myself. I gotta be honest. The guy with TMZ, Harvey, he's been super frustrating me. I mean, I kind of just feel like he put himself in the middle of all this. Then he goes live and talks about everything, but at the same time, there's a lot of stuff that he can't say. I don't know what he's got worked out with the FBI that he can't tell us, that may fall back on him, or it's just something that he'd rather not express right now. I'm not too sure. There's a lot of things I'm just confused about to talk about tonight, but I almost wonder if Savannah may regret this for the rest of her life if they do find out that Nancy's dead, because when Savannah came on, she said that, and I don't know if this is word for word, but she said, "We understand and we will pay." And I'm just wondering who stopped her from paying, what stopped her from paying. And I just feel like even if that was every bit of dollar that she had in her bank account, if she has 2 or 6 million, that there's so many people in tune that she would have probably made twice that in donations back. But that's besides the point. The crazier thing on the flip side is we know the government has a lot of capabilities, you know, and that one capability they have is money. And it's kind of crazy to me that we didn't just take the chance and try. Obviously, when I looked it up, they said a Bitcoin is highly attractable. Now, whether or not that's true, I'm not too sure. It's not attractable. It's highly traceable. I'm sorry. And with that being said, if that's the case, I think we should have took the chance, knowing that they could also get their money back. I mean, we're the FBI. I'm pretty sure that they could get in contact with CASHAPP or whoever the Bitcoin is going through. I don't know what other platforms that you can trade Bitcoins, because I know they have a big trade value as well, or purchase Bitcoins. But I think CASHAPP is one of them, I believe. But I feel like they could have took the chance, just because they know the clock is ticking and there's just not that much time. But I'm lost in the sauce, man. I'm lost in the sauce. I don't know where to start, man. I don't know where to begin. I don't know what to think. All I know is I just can't stop thinking about Nancy. I think even my girl's getting overwhelmed with me constantly talking about Nancy this and Nancy that. But I wanted to share a couple interesting videos. One of them is pertaining to the sheriff, because the sheriff has changed his story twice. It's been very confusing with him, very frustrating with him, very frustrating knowing that these sheriff and FBI are having a very hard time communicating with one another when we have somebody out there looking for their mom that could be potentially dead. It's just a whole lot going on. Now, we know last night we had the SWAT team go and capture 3 suspects. And like I said earlier, it turns out that those aren't the guys. And I have showed a picture of the 2 gentlemen yesterday that were detained. There were also a couple other guys. I don't know if these are the guys that were detained last night, but JLR, I'm sorry, went over to the house that they thought those suspects were at, and no one was home. There was nobody home at all. And he said that there was a car in the front that no longer worked. And I wanted to play that video when he arrived at that home yesterday. But I also wanted to read, and I want to find this real quick. I had it pulled up, but I don't see it anymore. It's a what to know, and I don't know what I did with it. But my man JLR, we gotta shout JLR always, man. Especially with this thing, he's been a huge part of this thing. He's been there pretty much since day one. My man's been doing this thing, man. He boots on the ground, man. Boots on the ground. I think a lot of us already know who that is. But man, my man's been putting in work. He's been putting in work. And I can't give him more credit for his work. I've been literally kind of waiting for him to really get on because, you know, he's been really the most active and been really good at finding leads as well. Says a Pima County SWAT team and the FBI executed a search warrant at Tucson area residence late Friday, which was yesterday, approximately 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home. At least 3 people were reportedly detained in the connection to the operation, but none have been confirmed as suspects in Guthrie's disappearance. Local authorities and FBI detained a man following a traffic stop in a Culver's restaurant parking lot in Tucson in connection to the warrant served on the nearby home, sources told Fox News Digital. A gray Range Rover was searched and towed from the parking lot. And I like I said, they seen something in that Range Rover that they're just not telling us, bro. They ain't telling us. Like, how long are we going to have to wait to get some type of press from the sheriff department? I mean, come on, man. The FBI released a description of the suspect seen in a mask and gloves tampering with the doorbell camera in front of Nancy's home. In the early morning hours of February 1st, around the time she went missing, the suspect is described as a male between 5'9", 5'10" tall with an average build and was seen carrying a 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker pack backpack. The FBI increased that $100,000 for information to the leading location of Nancy Guthrie or the arrest and conviction of anyone involved in her disappearance. The search entered the 2-week mark on Saturday, and authorities have yet to publicly name any suspects or persons of interest. I'm kind of getting scared to a point where this thing might just turn into a cold case, guys. I'm really kind of getting concerned. I don't know. Tomorrow, I'm really hoping to wake up in the morning. Actually, today, because we're in a whole new day. I'm really hoping that we wake up in the morning and we hear some crazy, exciting news. And one of that piece of news, I hope that's going to be, you know, obviously Nancy coming home. And at least some suspects, bro. I feel like these guys have enough evidence just with that footage alone to figure this out. And I feel like they got more video footage that they haven't showed us. I mean, how don't they not? If they were able to pull that up, why weren't they able to go back? You know, that video's got to be a lot longer. I think they only gave us a little piece. But that's just me, though. Anyways, like I said, JR pulled up to the home. JLR, I keep calling him JR. I don't know why. JLR Investigates pulled up to the home that they detained the two suspects at, because I believe one of them supposedly, I'm hearing that he fled from this Airbnb that these guys are at and went over to Culver's. A lot of people were really trolling in JLR's chat last night. That I did not like, but that's how people are in every chat. Unfortunately, people were saying Nancy was dead. People were saying that there was a dead body seen. They were saying all type of stuff. So a lot of people were all mixed up in this whole story. But I honestly, for me, I kept hearing something about a guy named Dolly as well. I guess he seen something, and apparently he kept saying, "Oh my God, oh my God." If anybody knows anything about that, let me know. I don't know what he saw. It's not up on his stream no more. I looked last night, didn't find anything. I don't know. I don't even know if the Culver had relations to the guys in the Airbnb 100%. But I know that's what everyone's saying, that it had connections to Nancy Guthrie, and it had something, and those guys were in connection to the people detained at the Airbnb, because they were detained around the same time. But let's play this video real quick of when he arrived at that Airbnb where we had the two suspects detained. It was three, because I believe it was a mother there detained with the two gentlemen that they detained. So it was two males that were detained and one female. I want to play this video though.
Come on in, folks. JLR Investigates. Come on in. Holy smokes, folks. This is crazy. This is crazy. I'm literally at the home of the raid last night. I'm at the home of the raid last night, and oh my goodness, there's no one here. This is crazy. Now let me set some things up, and I'm going to talk in a minute. I got to set up my thing. There's a few journalists. This is the home on the left. There's not one police in sight. There's no crime scene tape. There's nobody at the house. This is nuts. Apparently, there's talk that these people have not been arrested and let go. Unbelievable, folks. And I'm going to take you. I went to the house. I knocked on the door. I knocked on his door, or whoever the people are. This is nuts. And some journalists are going door to door asking the neighbors. Neighbors confirm it's this house right here on the left. So just give me a second. I need to set up shop here. Distribute this out to the different platforms. Public awareness. Where is Nancy Guthrie? Where is she? I think we're back to square one. I think we're back to square one, folks. This is nuts. Last night, massive raid. This area, about 2 miles away. It was this house here on the left. The house is completely empty. There's a broken down car in the driveway. I can see the tire tracks of where all the feds were. Neighbors confirm that it's the house on the left. And nothing. Never seen anything like this. And I got footage, but let's take you out in the neighborhood and show you. We're back to square one, folks. We're back to square one. I'll say.
Seems like we've been on square one this entire time. I'm not even going to say we're back to square one. I don't think we ever got out of square one. And let's just continue the video. I'm starting to get frustrated.
I actually posted something here.
I've been frustrated.
I'll show it to you. I posted some information about this. This is the house right here on the left. It's the house. This house right here. 6280. 6280. It's the house. It's the house. There ain't a soul here. Except an old beat up old car. Heck's going on here? This is insanity. I posted this morning on my X account. I'm shocked. No law enforcement at their house. No law enforcement in the neighborhood. No crime scene tape up. Neighbors tell me this is the house. No one at the home. What the heck is going on here? And one media journalist with Cold News says, Pima County Sheriff tells us regarding last night's law enforcement activity, it was nothing more than a lead tracked down that led to a search warrant and no arrest. They did it wrong again. That's journalists. They're going door to door. Shout out to the New York Times. New York Times doing their thing.
That's just
shout out to
that's just so upsetting, man. We got no suspects, but a Range Rover that had relations to this was sent off to get inspected. Come on, man. There's definitely something they ain't saying. I mean, they had this thing completely. They first of all, when they were moving, when they were getting something out of the vehicle, they had something covered up when they were transferring something out of the vehicle. They were moving it somewhere, and I don't know what that was that they moved, and I'm trying to figure out why wouldn't they arrest them if they had something. Obviously they had enough to arrest these guys if they have to take it in and inspect it. I don't understand that, because that would mean if they find something, these guys are on the loose, and then they got to go looking for them again. So if they just so happen to miss the suspects and those were the right suspects, then that would mean they got to track these guys down all over again. And the fact that JLR pulled up to this home and no one was home is kind of crazy. Although at the same time, if that's an Airbnb and SWAT just raided that Airbnb, I'm sure the owner of this home got notified, and due to that happening, these guys probably got kicked out. But at the same time, I question whether or not that's even an Airbnb, due to the fact there's a broken down car sitting in front of the house. It's very, very questionable. Last night, while JLR Investigates was live, there was a kid who walked up to him, and we all know it was shut down, so no one was able to get through. Even residents weren't able to get through and get back to their home, because I guess it was just that big. But normally they will let you travel to your home in certain situations, but I guess this was a highly dangerous one, so maybe that's why they didn't let these guys travel through. But the kid that walked up to JLR was telling him this. He was saying that they wouldn't let him in. His dad was calling him on the phone, and he was trying to get back to his house. But it's just a lot of funny stuff going on. It's starting to sound like a real, real big conspiracy. I mean, it definitely is a conspiracy. There's no doubt about it. Whether or not that Epstein interview had anything to do with this, I don't really know. I'm kind of overwhelmed with hearing that, because I really just don't want to believe that. You know, when you don't want to believe something, but it really, really bothers you. That's how that makes me feel with the Epstein thing. I just feel like I really got to watch that interview, because apparently when she did the interview, I guess she was interviewing some lady and made her upset. I'm not too sure how that interview went, because I've never watched it, but I guess I need to educate myself a little bit on that video, and maybe I'll see something, or see something that everybody else is seeing.
ABC 15, they're out there going door to door asking the neighbors. They spoke to a neighbor that came around, stopped right here, pointed, talked about the whole situation. You can check out the drone footage. It was this house. This is, and it's wrong. And no one's here. There's no crime scene tape. There's nothing in this neighborhood. There's no roadblock. There's nothing. Unbelievable. Now I'm not going to do this on my YouTube live, but I went and knocked on the door asking them for a comment. They got all kinds of cameras and everything like that. It's crazy. Let me show you that video.
What's up, Johnny? Welcome to the stream. What up,
Hold on.
Justice Jane 24? Welcome to the stream, guys. Yes, I will definitely check your Discord. I gotta log in on the computer here to check your Discord. I'm usually logged in on my cell phone. I got 2 phones.
I went and knocked on the door, asked him for comment.
Even though I'm broke, I'm gonna. I gotta get my other phone. I'll see if I can log into my Discord on here.
Crazy. There's a couple other journalists that went and knocked on their door.
Yeah, my Discord for whatever reason isn't loading up. I'll give it a minute and see if it loads.
Seeking comment on what's going on. Wouldn't you want to ask these people why were you detained if they're even out yet? This is crazy.
Big welcome to those of y'all tuning in. Don't forget, hit that like button if you're just plugging in here and you're enjoying the stream, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Definitely a growing channel. I am probably, 2 years?
This is the house last night that they wait to.
So I'm just getting back into the groove, guys, trying to get this train back moving. So
multiple
if you're
people.
enjoying the stream,
I'm hearing
like
2
it
people,
up,
1 person
subscribe,
at
baby.
another location.
So entitled, so nosy. Why are they knocking on their door? What the fuck?
They have not been arrested.
They're just trying to get answers. They just want to figure out what really happened last night. Maybe maybe the neighbors will tell them something that they don't know about. I don't know what's going on with this screen here. If that's an Airbnb, though, why would a broken down car be in front of the Airbnb? I really am not understanding that.
I am a journalist. Any comment on what happened last night? I knocked on their door asking them for comment.
Hello, good morning.
Maybe something, Johnny. All right, I'll check on my phone actually, because I don't know why my Discord's not loading.
All right, thank you.
And then I left. This is the house. Ain't nobody here.
Oh, he was showing it on his phone.
Why did they do this again to the second person? They just go there and scoop somebody up, block the roads up. JLR, you need to clean your lens. Will. First look, neighborhood. It's not a crime scene. Back to square one, folks. So we're gonna go over to Nancy Guthrie's home here and stage. That's it. Another craziness. All that stuff down there at Culver's, this. Dude, if they were in jail, this would be an entire crime scene. This would be all taped up. This whole neighborhood would be blocked. Media would be on here.
Another interesting point I wanted to make was, you know what's crazy? Well, let's not even say that. So, a lot of people want Nancy's home to be taped up, but my question to everyone would be, how long normally is a crime scene taped up? It's normally taped up for like 2 to 3 hours. The most you'll see a crime scene tape. I've seen a crime scene maybe taped up for like 12 hours, 13, maybe 14 hours at the most. Let's just say a day at the longest. A lot of people want Nancy's home to be taped up because they still feel like it's a crime scene. But once they're done, they're done. It's no longer a crime scene. You can walk all over wherever that crime scene was at. But people still think it should be a crime scene while they're investigating this, I guess. But if they feel like they got everything that they need, although they didn't in the beginning because they kept going back and going back and going back and going back, it is no longer a crime scene after that. And I don't think people understand that because they're so frustrated with them not getting anything at all. Just wanted to say that.
It's wild. Journalists going door to door, talking to the neighbors. Make this make sense, folks. I'll take you around the neighborhood. There's no police around here. There's nobody. What the heck's going on here? No, it's not the wrong house. It is the correct house. It's 100% the correct house. There's no police anywhere in this neighborhood. That's the house on the left. There was conflicting things that was on the other side yesterday, but it wasn't. It ended up being on this side. This is like in the back of a cul-de-sac in the neighborhood. I'll take you to up where I was last night at the staging ground.
I don't see your message on Discord there.
What the heck is going on here, folks? We're back to square one. Back to square one.
I am with Four.
Maybe I'm missing
Yeah,
it.
your guy.
see
I don't know
anything.
if your people are down there, but they're down there by the house. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, another journalist came in.
So that was JLR going to the home just the very next day after they had detained those two suspects that we thought we had yesterday. Once again, for the second time. But I had an interesting video I wanted to play from a guy named, I'm trying to remember his name. Let's see, I'm gonna pull him up right now. True Crime, which I think it's, I want to say it's Strategy Eyes. Yeah. He had something interesting that I wanted to share. He was talking about the sheriff. So let me play that.
Not the deputies, not the sheriffs, the undersheriffs and all those folks, just nanos. Just keep going.
All right, Fox News alert, back to Arizona, and all new information right now in the Nancy Guthrie case. So in the last few minutes, TMZ is reporting they just received a third email from someone who says he knows the identity of Nancy Guthrie's kidnapper, and now he wants to up his price. He wants the increased $100,000 FBI reward. There's another interesting thing about this email, according to TMZ. Quote, there's another important change. He says when he gets the initial payment, he'll give up the name of the main individual. Referring to the main individual clearly suggests there are accomplices. So that is all new and very interesting, and it comes amid new questions about how this investigation is being handled. A source tells Fox the FBI has been blocked from key access to evidence, but Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos is pushing back, telling our Matt Finn that's false.
It's not even close to accurate. First of all, we don't hold information from anybody that's going to help us. Why would we do that? There are no egos here. This is all about finding Nancy. That's all it is. There's a great love here for Miss Guthrie, and everybody wants her back. That's the goal. That should be the goal. These little stories of infighting is ridiculous.
Nanos also addressing another claim that a glove was found inside Guthrie's home. He says, not true.
Never took the glove out of that.
Look, listen to Thanos. We're not gonna call him Nanos no more. I keep calling him Nanos because I'm a respectful guy. I don't like calling grown men out of their names. But he's an elected official. He's not a commissioner. He's not a chief. He's an elected official. He's a sheriff. He's a politician. And he's acting like Thanos. And he's snapping his finger and destroying his case. Listen to this right here. Listen to this alleged lie I only say alleged because I got to say alleged because this is YouTube. But you know how I truly feel about it. Listen to this live.
Never took the glove out of that house. We have DNA from various sources in the house.
Did he say we never took the glove out of that house? We have DNA from various sources in the house. We knew that we processed the scene, that there was a chance to recover DNA. That has proven to be the case with our labs reporting back to us. We have no glove. We never had a glove in that house. We never found a glove on that property. Okay. Well, what is this? What is this? News Nation, an FBI official tells News Nation that Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos is blocking federal agents from assessing key evidence in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, hindering the Bureau's ability to assist in the case. The evidence includes a glove discovered inside Nancy Guthrie's home and DNA samples described as basically all the evidence in the case so far, according to the FBI source. The sheriff sent the evidence to a private lab in Florida for testing instead of allowing the FBI to send it to his laboratory in Quantico, Virginia. Somebody's lying to us. Who do you want to believe, ladies and gentlemen? Ladies and gentlemen, someone's lying. Who do you want to believe?
So you see how he caught him lying? Because he changed his story twice. I'm going to go back so y'all can hear that again.
I don't know. It's in evidence.
This guy
never had a glaze. Alleged
already knows he effed up, so he's trying to, it's like he's trying to cover his own ass, but it's just making him look worse.
Only say alleged because I got to say alleged because this is YouTube. But you know how I truly feel about it. Listen to this live.
Never took the glove out of that house. We have DNA from various sources in the house.
Did he say we never took the glove out of that house? We have DNA from various sources in the house. We knew that we processed the scene, that there was a chance to recover DNA. That has proven to be the case with our labs reporting back to us. We have no glove. We never had a glove in that house. We never found a glove on that property. Okay. Well, what is this? What is this? News Nation, an FBI official tells News Nation that Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos is blocking federal agents from assessing key evidence in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, hindering the Bureau's ability to assist in the case. The evidence includes a glove discovered inside Nancy Guthrie's home and DNA samples described as basically all the evidence in the case so far, according to the FBI source. The sheriff sent the evidence to a private lab in Florida for testing instead of allowing the FBI to send it to his laboratory in Quantico, Virginia. Somebody's lying to us. Who do you want to believe, ladies and gentlemen? Ladies and gentlemen, someone's lying. Who do you want to believe? I don't know. You tell me.
We knew that. We knew that when we processed the scene that there was a chance to recover DNA. That has proven to be the case with our labs reporting back to us. But
I'll tell you one thing. When I got a perp sitting before me, and listen, I say this lightly because I don't want to disrespect this man. He is not a perp, and I don't want to make him synonymous with a perp.
Just look at that guy, though. Just look at him. Just take a look at him for a second, man. He looks like a backstabbing type of guy. He looks like, I don't know, man. That dude he's just weird to me. He's just weird, and I don't like him at all.
He's a 40-year lawman, so I respect his service, all right? But he chose to be a politician. He chose to be a politician. So I'm going to treat him like a politician right now. When I have a perp before me, mealy-mouthing with all the different words, he's using 3 paragraphs to say one thing, I'm usually viewing that as deception. I'm not saying he's deceiving. I'm just telling you what I view that as. When you could just say, it's a lie, I'm not holding any information away from the FBI, full stop. That's a whole lot different than all this extra stuff this guy is saying. Like he's just trying to make all of that go right over our heads. Let's keep going.
we have no glove. We never had a glove in that house.
Okay.
We never found glove on that property.
There's also been rumors, allegations swirling online pointing the finger at members of the Guthrie family, and Sheriff Nanos taking that on directly, calling out the speculation.
That's what I don't understand. Like, why did he say they never found a glove on that property, but they said that they found a glove on that property? So how all of a sudden they didn't find a glove on the property? I'm so confused. So where did they find the glove then? And why are they using this glove to track down the suspect? Because obviously those lab results came back with that DNA on it, and it seems like that DNA has no relations at all to Nancy or anyone that knows Nancy at all. So how in the hell do you place a glove in Nancy's home and track down a suspect? That just makes no sense. It makes no sense at all.
Now listen to this. This is another inconsistency from Thanos. Let's keep going.
Thanos.
The whole family has my number. You know, that was part of this too. It was just getting crazy out there with the accusations about the family. Come on, people. You can't accuse people of a horrific crime like that and not have any facts behind it.
Now listen, I agree with that. I am not a supporter of the Tommaso. I am thinking about it because Ashley Banfield said that her source that she puts everything on, that she has worked with for 30 years, and she put everything on that this guy is top spot on. She said that they said that Tommaso was a suspect. Now, she never said Tommaso did it. She said he was a suspect. And it doesn't look like he did it. It doesn't look like he's a suspect. But at the same time that Nanos, a.k.a. Thanos, is telling us that none of the family members are suspects, Thanos, a.k.a. Nanos, a.k.a. Thanos, why do your detectives keep going back to their house? Which is basically validating what Banfield said. You can't have it both ways. You can't say that none of the family members are suspects, but your detectives keep searching their house. How many times have they searched the house of Annie? How many times? 2, 3? How many times have they gone and removed the mail from their house with gloves on and put it in plastic bags? You can't have it both ways. If my family members are victims of a crime and the police department keeps coming to search my house and the crime didn't happen at my house, I'm getting an attorney. Not because I'm guilty, but because I know the law, I know how investigations work, and I know that they're looking at me and they're wrong, and I need to protect myself. And only a fool would say, well, if you got nothing to worry about, why are you getting an attorney for? Nah, all right, you be stupid and let the might of the U.S. government roll you over. You better get representation. You better protect yourself. So all the amount of times that they don't went and searched Annie's house, I'm surprised she hasn't gotten an attorney yet. But yet he's sitting here telling us that they're not suspects and nobody in that camp is a suspect, but you keep searching their house. Let's keep going.
CEO of National Center for Open and Unsolved Cases and host of...
Yeah, I think it was Brian that came across the blood on that front porch. I'm pretty sure it was him. I'm not 100% sure. But I know they were walking all over that place. I want to say a couple days. I'm not too sure how many days it was after they went in the first time at the home, but it's just been everywhere. It's been everywhere. But like I was saying yesterday, we already know who's really moving this train, and that's the FBI. But it just almost feels like Nanos wants to be the guy of this operation. Like he wants to be the one that captures Nancy. Like, it just seems like he's hurt from how the public reacted to this, and he wants to clean up his mess and prove to the world that, they really can bring Nancy home, or they really can track down these suspects, and they really have what it takes to make that happen. But I just don't see it, man. I don't see it. And I don't see sheriffs just don't do that. It's not their job to, investigate further like a detective would or like an FBI agent would. It's just not, I feel like that's who you pass it down to, and you work with them. And, I feel like it would be the sheriff that would be assisting the FBI, not the FBI assisting the sheriff. They should be just working together. And from the most part, it seems like that, but there's also a lot of stuff going on which doesn't seem like that, because there's a lot of stuff that it seems like the sheriff are withholding from the FBI. Because it seems like there's certain stuff that came out that they haven't told the FBI. But I don't know. Until they hold a press, until they tell everyone what's going on, we're not really going to know anything. It's just a bunch of what ifs and what ifs and what ifs and hope and hope and hope and hope. I mean, there's just nothing right now. We've been on square one. We never went back to square one. We never moved forward at all. The only thing that we have is that surveillance video in front of Nancy's home.
Crime Reconstructed podcast, Morgan Wright joins me now. Morgan, thanks for being with me. Let's just pick up on that most recent piece of information, a third note to TMZ, with a tipster upping his financial reward request, saying he could point the finger at the main person involved in this crime. The question is whether or not any of this is legitimate, whether or not anything here is real. Anyone could send a note in.
Did I miss that? Did I miss him say that nobody's cleared? We see that. I don't want to.
Right, CEO of National.
That and not have any facts behind it.
Okay.
Right, CEO of.
I think he ends up saying that nobody's cleared though.
Football game. You know why they quit televising that? Because it encouraged. Right. Well, when's the last time you saw a streaker at a football game? You know why they quit televising that?
Why is this guy cleaning the pool? Why is the pool cleaner in there? When this is a crime scene, the police keep coming back and keep searching this house. Why does the pool need to be cleaned?
That's one thing I was talking about as well. I don't feel like the guy should have been there at all as far as the pool. I really don't. They shouldn't have let him back there. But at the same time, it's not a crime scene anymore. It's not taped off. I feel like if the family came home and they needed to get something from the home, they'd be allowed in the home. I don't know. I wonder if they are. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I mean, if it's not a crime scene anymore, they should be able to go in and out the home as they please. I would only assume that. But yeah. I thought that was really super odd, the fact that they let the guy come and clean the pool. And I don't really think that he should have been there due to what's going on right now. It's a little odd. But, I mean, I get maintaining the home for the time being, I guess. I don't really know what to think about that besides me I just wouldn't have let it happen if I was the family. I would have just told them to continue on. But I don't know. It's already so much going on, so much overthinking. They're just adding this to the pile.
Nancy not there to swim in the pool. That's crazy. I don't know. Wow. All right, Aki said in the next exhibit, he's going to say nobody was clear. Good job, Aki. We'll get to that. Steeler Nation, 1275, $10 super chat says, it seems he has an ego the size of Arizona. His mentality is that he is right and you're wrong, and you are a complete idiot if you dare to challenge him. I'm hearing that, people saying that about him, people who used to work for him. I don't know how much to believe it, but I'm just saying it's not looking too good, ladies and gentlemen. Let's keep going. We looking for Nancy, and we got the pool cleaner in there cleaning the pool. Oh, my God. Let's keep going. Now, we got to do the electronic one. Oh, my God. Yes. Oh, my God. Does that make sense?
Does that make sense?
I guess they want the pool clean for when Nancy returns home. You know what? I kind of like that. Just keep cleaning that pool, buddy.
Yeah.
We want to make sure it's nice and clean when Nancy returns to her home.
Does that make sense?
All right, let's keep going, man.
Because it encouraged bad behavior. It encouraged even more streakers. So the more you publicize these notes, the more they will get done. Look, I used to teach behavior analysis. I used to teach interview and interrogation for the NSA, for the FBI, state and local. one of the things we were always concerned about is not, this is really in a sense a copycat crime. So what you're getting is somebody who's they're living vicariously through the misery of others. They're getting a thrill because their note is getting read on TV. What we have to do, the other thing is distraction. So as I evaluated this, and I look at this and I simply look at it from a first principle standpoint, does it meet the threshold evidentiary wise that it's actually a ransom communication? If you really wanted money and if you had the information, you'd go to 1-800-CALL-FBI. You'd give the information. You call Crime Stoppers here in Pima County. The only reason, Will, they're going to TMZ or media outlets is for some kind of a self-validation, and they want this information out. So as a detective, I would look at it and I would go, yeah, it's not a ransom note. It's a communication. It's a bad one. And I hope whoever this is, that the FBI comes down on them,
Okay.
with a bag of rocks.
All right, I want to ask you a couple of other what you called first principle type questions, but one more granular question. There's another Ring camera video that's circulating. Okay, and again, it's TMZ reporting that law enforcement is looking at this man. It's from the Tucson area, 6.5 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home, about a week before Nancy Guthrie was taken. It's from another door.
So Aki said, we're going to get to it, but Aki said that the family sent the pool cleaner. I get it. Families do weird stuff. Why are they not telling these people no? I don't care who you are, what TV show you've been on. That is my crime scene. You've called me to help you. You've called me to return your loved one. That house needs to be locked down. Period. That house needs to be locked down until they could definitively say nothing more could be done to that house.
I get that. I mean, I get that though, but
period. That's it. Let the pool turn green, as they said inside of the chat.
at the same time, you never know what is on Savannah's mind. You never know what she's going through, as well as Andy over there. They're probably not even thinking about the pool cleaner right now. Let's be real, but I mean, you never know. You never know.
Not a big deal. Couple of chlorine tabs, couple of shock bags, and you're back to being blue again.
I don't know why they keep comparing this video to the one at Nancy's home. I just feel like this is pretty obvious that this is a completely different person. The person don't even look the same at all whatsoever. He walks different. He's much skinnier. He looks like he's a completely different race than the other guy. None of these match up at all. So I don't know why they keep comparing this to the guy in front of Nancy's home on that Ring camera.
Not a big deal. It's the desert. They don't got leaves going in there and organic matter. So us finding out that the family is the ones that sent the pool cleaner means nothing to me. You're law enforcement. The answer is no. Nobody comes to that residence. Not the mailman, not the pizza man, not the pool cleaner, not mommy, not daddy, not brother, not sister, nobody. Because they keep going back to process the scene more, which means they're not done with it. And every time you put somebody on that property, they are contaminating the crime scene. And you are helping the potential defense attorney that's going to be...
But it's not a crime scene. They already felt like they got everything that they needed. They feel like there's no more to go back and investigate. I mean, they keep going back and they keep going back, so obviously there is something that they keep missing. But I mean, once they're done, they're done. It doesn't stay a crime scene once they leave, for the most part. I mean, at least that's what I think.
Representing the person who took Nancy, if they ever find this person. Let's keep going.
Bell camera. I would imagine these are trickling in. I would imagine because they've asked the public's help for all of this. But once again, I would assume, Morgan, it's going to be one of these deals where, like yesterday, we had one and it turned out not to be a suspect. It's like, it's going to be right. That. I'm not suggesting this isn't, but your batting average is going to be low, but that's sort of the point.
Yeah, I can tell you, well, working cases and stuff, you never batted 1,000.
And it says there'll be a for sale sign up soon. Oh my God, imagine that. Dang. I don't even want to think about that, man. Don't say that.
On a case, you would rather have more tips than fewer tips, But at some point, we're reaching informational entropy. We're reaching overload. We've got so much information, our ability to process it is going down, so the tempo of the case starts slowing down. Now, with videos like this, I would take everything seriously, but here's what we have. We have the video of the known suspect that's been analyzed. We know height, weight pretty closely. You know, we know mannerisms and things like that. So now we have something, a central point that is conclusive that we can say now we can compare it against other things. So just kind of tied into first principles. Now I have something to compare it against. What I want to do is put constraints on my thinking, eliminate the bias, and say, does this match, right? And if it doesn't, then I need to discard it. But more information, more evidence is not necessarily going to solve this case. I think we have all the information we need right now, but we need to focus on the information we have, interpret it correctly, and then really just drill down. It's going to be hard.
They got to drill down on video surveillance and electronic stuff. That's what they got to do. This case requires them to find out, like they got to truly, like, it's going to take everything. I'm sorry. It's going to take everything. Witnesses, tips, video. They need to find what car this guy was in. They need people to go through all of their video cameras and really look and see if this guy has been in the community like they're doing. This is a difficult case, man. It really is. And DNA is going to play a part too. Listen, we have over 1,500 people watching right now, but only 632
man,
likes.
I really feel like this is going to be a super cold case. I'm sorry. I'm starting to lean in that direction, okay? I'm not there yet, but I feel like this is turning into a cold case. And I feel like it's going to be a never-ending thing where they're constantly detaining people and just never finding the guy. I mean, how long are they going to go on before they just kind of just give up on this thing? You know, at what point is the media going to go away from Nancy's home? I mean, we still got people out in front of Nancy's home daily. I mean, today's day 15, and we still got press outside in front of Nancy's home. I mean, there's so many people still out there. I mean, I think there was probably at least about 30, 40 people that I seen today outside of Nancy's home. So I just wonder how long this is going to go on before people come to realization that she's probably not coming home, and we just may not find a suspect. I don't know. It's just really starting to feel like we're not going to get anybody here.
Subscribe to the channel yet? Please subscribe to Glamour, who's celebrating 1 month as a patrolman, even be thinking about the pool. Well, you know, I got to tell you, Miss Glamour.
By the way, Nanos is going to get fired. I'm calling it now. Nanos is about to get fired.
Trauma makes people act in strange ways. And so when you work with people who are experiencing trauma, you learn not to judge them. I'm not saying you're judging them. You're asking a very good question. And as a professional, I'm giving you the professional answer. People who are experiencing trauma, they will do strange things to cope with that trauma. Maybe the family feels like getting into a routine is a way of helping them kind of deal with the fact that their mother's not there. So just like what we said it facetiously a little bit, you know, where we're like, what are you trying to do? Have the pool clean for when Nancy comes back? That's not important right now. What's important is a crime scene. Well, for the family, they might actually be thinking that. They might actually be thinking, we want mommy to come back. We expect and we pray that mommy's going to come back. We know mommy's going to come back to us, and we do want her pool clean, because for all we know, maybe that pool meant a lot to her and she always kept that pool clean. People are like that, especially older people. She probably never got in that pool, but she always liked that pool to be pristine clean for when her grandkids come over so that they can have fun in that pool. So maybe that's something that would bring Nancy joy when she returns back to her home, to see that the pool is still clean. You know, that's what trauma does. But as law enforcement, we have to think about it in a different way.
They are not thinking about that pool right now, my guy. Come on now.
Think about what's most important for the case. Let's keep going.
Police work, I'm telling you, it's going to be slogging it through it. It's going to be interviews. It's going to be knocking on doors. That's what's going to solve this case. Local knowledge is going to solve this case, because somebody in Tucson knows who this guy is.
Here's the first principle question I wanted to ask you, and I spent some time researching this today. Forgive me if my statistics are just a little bit off, or they're broad-brushed strokes here. But most of these types of crimes, and the sheriff is saying he's treating it as a kidnapping, okay? So not as a homicide, he's saying as a kidnapping. From my understanding, the vast majority of these, something like 70%, are solved within the first 72 hours. At the far outreach, within the first week or two. we're really beyond that time frame. We're right at the end of 2 weeks here. If you have all the evidence that you need, as you suggest, and now it just takes putting it in its right place and analyzing it, why? Why are we now at the far end of this timeline where we have to start thinking about this very different than how all these others are solved?
You know, well, that's a tough question. I know everybody says we want to hold out hope, but at some point, if you're an investigator, you've got to be very clinical about this. When I did crime scenes, I may work crime scenes with children who were killed, suicides, but you have to compartmentalize that. You have to follow the facts. We're at a point now, when I would be called in to work a suicide, we didn't work it as a suicide. We worked it as a homicide because you never knew where the facts of the case were going to take you. At some point, and it's a term of art too, Will. The other thing he said, it's a kidnapping. The question is, was it a kidnapping for ransom? We're not at that level yet. Technically, when you take somebody from their house under force, through force or threat of force, that's kidnapping. So that is technically correct. It's not technically correct yet that it was a kidnap for ransom. And so at some point, I would say that investigators need to start treating this as a no-body homicide, investigate it that way.
I'm still unsure if it was a kidnap for ransom. I don't know. I feel like it was. But at the same time, I feel like it wasn't due to the fact of a ransom not going the way this went. Because I feel like at any point in time that the police got involved, if it was a ransom, if she was alive, and this whole ransom thing was true, she would have been dead the moment the police found out that it was a ransom. I don't think that they wanted to get the police involved whatsoever, if that were the case. But everybody else believes different, and I think they still should have took the chance, though. I think her getting her mom back home, or at least making the biggest effort possible that they had, that was the only opportunity they had to bring her back home. And I feel like she should have took it just to see. The entire world is involved. For crying out loud, we are the government. Like, we're literally the government. They should have the money. That should be nothing to the government. They should have sent that money just to see what'll happen. And if it was Savannah who sent that money herself, she would have got that money back. She would have got probably times 2. She would have probably got all that money donated right back to her. So I don't understand why she didn't take the chance. And it seems like the only person that kept their word was the person that said they had that deadline. Because as far as I'm concerned, I haven't heard anything at all, since they had given that deadline. So I think they should have took the chance, because that might be something that she may regret for the rest of her life. I mean, if you had an opportunity to bring your mom back, you would take that chance. Her mom is worth more than $6 million. Bringing her home is worth more than her life. I mean, I just think that's kind of crazy that they didn't take the chance. So something ain't right here. And they know something we just don't know. And I can't wait to find out, if we ever even find out. It almost feels like it's going to stay the way it is. We're just not going to know anything, and we're all going to be up in the air about this like we've been since day one.
That way. I know it's not the news everybody wants to hear, but look, you take the world as you find it, not as you wish it was. And this is what's going to bring this case to resolution. At this point, we have to resolve this case. The longer it goes on, to your point, statistics show you, the tougher it becomes to solve the case. Why? Informational overload, information entropy. We just get so much, we collect more and more, process less and less. That's what really hurts investigations.
Okay, really good. Thank you. More.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click.
Yeah, man. Wow. All right. FBI, I think we read this one already.
Interesting.
This is
They pulled over in a traffic stop. The car was pulled over at a Culver's Faster Picture at Guthrie's house.
Here you go, for those of y'all who think that this car came from the house that they had 3 suspects detained, because a lot of people were saying that this car fled from that house and ended up at the Culver's, and it became a possible high-speed chase. I don't know if it was a high-speed chase, but that's not the case. So that's why I'm going to play this video, just to clear the air on that. This was actually a traffic stop. It wasn't. This truck did not come from that Airbnb home that the 3 suspects were detained at.
Also, there was a dramatic traffic stop that was allegedly related to the search for Nancy Guthrie. And these are pictures of investigators, FBI, and sheriff's deputies going through a vehicle that they pulled over in a traffic stop. The car was pulled over at a Culver's fast food restaurant. It's unclear why that vehicle was targeted. Now, the other activity with law enforcement happened at a home. The New York Times says the home, again, about 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's house, it's in what's considered an upscale neighborhood, according to the New York Times. A woman lives there with her adult son. And this is according to a neighbor who spoke to the outlet. Now, the woman reportedly declined to comment to the media outlet. The Pima County Sheriff says that the reason that the SWAT team went to that home was because of a tip they received, and it was a federal court-ordered search warrant that was executed at that house. According to the sheriff, one man was detained and questioned, then released. No one was arrested. Now, it is unclear what the FBI took from the home, and it is possible that they are still following leads based on what took place and what they found inside the house. It's important to remember that with a search warrant, you have to provide evidence to a judge who looks and says, okay, this is something where I believe you can go into someone.
You have to have probable cause to believe. And you have to be fairly certain that you're going to find what you're looking for. And you have to be targeted and directed as to what you want to find and where it might be. These are very high burdens that these folks seem to be getting to get these search warrants past these judges only to find nothing. Let's keep going.
House and take property out of it. So you look at that and you have to believe that law enforcement had at least something that pointed them in the direction of this house. But remember, earlier in the week, they did a raid at a home near the U.S.-Mexico border, about an hour from Tucson. You remember that man, Carlos, a DoorDash delivery driver. He's pulled over, he's detained, and he's questioned, but then he's released by law enforcement. And according to the sheriff of Pima County, Carlos's alibi seems to check out. So it doesn't seem like he was involved in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. Now, Friday night's raid happened hours after a major piece of information was confirmed by the Pima County sheriff. That DNA, other than Nancy Guthrie's, was found inside the home. Now, it's unclear if that DNA belongs to the masked man seen outside of her home around the time that she was kidnapped. It could just be the DNA of someone who was inside her house, maybe a friend, maybe someone who worked at the home to help her. We know that hired help like gardeners have been asked to provide DNA samples. Now, speaking of Nancy Guthrie's house, we have to talk about a very bizarre scene that played out yesterday at her home.
Before he gets into that, guys, we have over 1,500 people watching this live stream, 792 likes. Please hit the like button, support the channel so we can get into the algorithm. The only reason why we ask, YouTube gives us
Moses, I feel super bad for her family as well. Like I really, man, this makes me super nervous, by the way, just knowing he's still out there. I mean, it's my city. For those of y'all new to the channel, I live in this city. I mean, I'm from Tucson, Arizona, so it's a little scary, man. I'm not gonna lie. It's super scary. I just can't even believe it. I just don't see nothing like this happening often where I grew up, and I've been here all my life, so it's just kind of crazy. But I guess it has to happen somewhere. It just don't usually happen here. But they're definitely not telling us what they're doing. Is it Norbys? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm just going to say Nor because I don't want to get that wrong. I might be still saying it wrong. Let's just say no. I don't know. Nor or no. He said he released to make a case. Who knows? Is very bizarre what happened yesterday. Yeah. I almost thought we had something. I mean, JLR, Mr. Boots on the ground, they thought they had a lead in a couple places, but they ended up getting a few places wrong, I guess, because he had somebody alongside with him. I think that was 857, and I think he wanted him to go a few places. It looked like they both had two different places or several different places in mind. They were getting all these addresses in the chat. But at some point, they finally found the location of where we just saw the SWAT and FBI rolling out. And the home I showed you guys that JLR went to, where they had the 2 or 3 suspects detained.
Seminars, they said if you do not ask your audience to hit the like button, they will not hit the like button and your channel will not grow. So we're asking so that our channel could grow. Please hit that like button, support the channel, and subscribe if you have not subscribed yet.
On Friday, and this is a picture of a pool cleaning company that came to Nancy Guthrie's house and cleaned the pool in her backyard. Now, this raised some questions, raised some eyebrows, considering Nancy Guthrie's house is a crime scene.
Right.
The Pima County Sheriff said that the Guthrie family requested someone come and service the pool.
Oh,
Now,
so they actually requested that? I thought it was just a timely thing, like, you know, every Friday or whatever day of the week that she has, you know, someone come out and clean her pool. I guess they really wanted somebody to come clean the pool. That's odd. Why would they be thinking about that right now? You got your mom out there somewhere. You know, everybody in the house is, I'm sure the house is quiet, you know. And they're probably at home probably all day, every day, because they're trying to hide from the media eye, you know, or the public eye, because they don't want to get caught out. They can't right now. It's too much going on for that family right now. So it would be like Donald Trump walking out. Maybe not that deep, but I mean, still, the people would be all over them. You know, the media would be all over them. So I'm sure Savannah and Annie, as well as Tommaso, are just stuck in the house right now. They probably feel like they're stuck in a box. But if Tommaso's not here, maybe not, because Tommaso, from what I heard, is somewhere off in Italy. But I don't know how true that is. Like I said, people can come in these chats trolling and they will say anything. So, and it's crazy how much it travels when people come say stuff like that, because one person off of the next person will start saying the same thing just to try to blow up something that's not valid. Or not true, in other words.
The answer is no. The answer is no. You have to respect the integrity of the crime scene. You don't.
We go back on that because I feel like I talked too long.
To Nancy Guthrie's house and cleaned the pool in her backyard. Now, this raised some questions, raised some eyebrows, considering Nancy Guthrie's house is a crime scene.
Right.
The Pima County Sheriff said that the Guthrie family requested someone come and service the pool. Now,
why does everybody think it's a crime scene? There's no way there's no way that could be a crime scene anymore. It's not a crime scene no more. If there's no longer tape around that home, and there was a pool guy who came up and he was able to go in and clean the pool, it's not a crime scene anymore. People keep thinking this is a crime scene. Once they walk away from the scene, it's no longer a crime scene. I've never seen really a crime scene be a crime scene without the FBI or detectives, whoever does that, forensic filers, whatever you call them. I've never seen it continue to stay a crime scene without anybody physically present. I think once they walk away from it, they're done. It's no longer a crime scene anymore. Maybe they can withhold the place for a substantial amount of time and keep it all wrapped up to prevent people from going in there. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's probably possible. But the fact that there's no tape, that should let the world know that it's no longer a crime scene. But everyone's stuck on this, that they think it's still a crime scene. It's not. It wasn't a crime scene the first time when they left in the first place and everyone went in the yard and stepped all over it and probably touched a whole lot of stuff too. They went back probably at least 4 or 5 times. But the only reason why the sheriff is there in place, I think, is to protect the home. Other than that, once that sheriff drives away, I guarantee you, once this comes to an end, people are going to be walking all up in there. Not even come to an end. If it doesn't come to an end and there's I wonder if they're even paying for this. Like, are they just giving, because having somebody guard your house like a sheriff is not free. So I wonder if they're offering this to the family just because, or they're actually coming out of pocket. That would be a good question. But I think if this continues on, and at some point, because the police can't stay in front of Nancy's house forever. Once they drive away from there and they're no longer guarding the home, people are going to be able to walk in there again, and it's still going to be an ongoing thing. So I don't know why people have this thing stuck in their head that this is a crime scene. It's not a crime scene no more. If the pool guy went in there, it's not a crime scene.
The answer is no. The answer is no. You have to respect the integrity of the crime scene. You don't know where that crime scene might lead you. You may have thought that nothing happened in the pool area, and then you might get additional evidence down the line to find out that something did happen in the pool area. And now that area has been contaminated because you had the pool boy. No, it is not appropriate for a hostage, possible homicide, kidnapping, hostage, international case with international intrigue. It's no. But this guy is so unprofessional. He said yes.
Interview with Fox News, the sheriff addressed reports that a member of the Guthrie family may be a suspect in the case. We have heard that.
In an interview with Fox News, he said a member of the family may be a suspect in this case. Do I have to go backwards to how he opened the show when he said that it's shameful that people are looking at the family that they might be involved in this? He told Fox News that a member of the family is a suspect in the case, and then he came back and said, shame on all of us for even thinking about the possibility that a member of the family may be a suspect in the case. This guy is crazy.
From the early days of this investigation, and the sheriff appeared to brush that off to an extent, saying that the Guthrie family has been 100% cooperative. They've done everything that law enforcement has asked them. But then when he was asked if any members of the Guthrie family have been ruled out as a suspect in the case, he said, no one.
Hey guys, do me a favor.
Yeah, I've driven through that neighborhood before. I know Tucson like the back of my head, if that's what you're asking. I think Luke said, here's the bigger thing. Have y'all driven this neighborhood? Are you guys here? Okay, so you don't apply? Maybe he meant to put reply. Yeah, I've driven through the neighborhood. If you go look in my video, I think I have a video there with JLR. He did like a slight little interview on me. I didn't really say too much. But I also have a stream there that didn't go, my signal cut out, so I wasn't able to, it didn't show. It didn't load the rest of the video when I actually got to the actual home. But yeah, I went to Annie's home and I went to Nancy's home. I went to Nancy's home probably about 2-3 times, and then Annie's home, I drove by there twice. I didn't stop there. Nancy's home, I stayed there for a while, but yeah, I didn't go to Annie's. As far as I know, Annie and Tommaso's house, they're still pressed out in the front of there, and also Nancy's. There's so many people in front of Nancy's, actually, I think, still. As of right now, overnight, I know there's a gentleman out there in front right now. I don't know his name, and I think he said he's a overnight live. He's gonna be there overnight, but I can't remember his name though. But I think he's actually live right now. I was trying to pull up his name. Anyway.
Want to make sure the sound is good. You guys are saying the sound is skipping. Let me get some. Is muted. I'm not muted. I'm.
See how his viewers are
weird.
trolling him right now.
My end says I'm rocking and roll. Refresh your browser because the majority of people
In the case, I want to show you this here. This, according to the FBI, is the type of backpack that the person spotted outside of Nancy's home, tampering with her front door camera, was wearing in those images. Now, the backpack, it is a 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker pack backpack. And very interesting, the only place that you can get it is Walmart.
Now, when I looked at that video, I couldn't see it. I couldn't see the Ozark Trail.
Luke says, the question I have heard is this is random. Drive this neighborhood for 20 minutes. After driving it, you try and tell me this is a random attack. This is not random. This was targeted. I don't know if you guys are talking to each other or you're telling me that, but I don't think this was random at all. No, I felt like they also knew the home, considering they knew where the cameras were at. And it also just kind of sounds like they knew exactly where Nancy was at, like what room she slept in, because it's a fairly big home. So it's not like you're just going to walk into a home and know exactly where somebody sleeps. You know what I'm saying? You definitely got to scavenge around the home if you're trying to figure out whether somebody sleeps. And you're also trying to figure out and make sure that there's no one else in the home, which tells me that somebody knew that it was just Nancy home. Somebody did make a comment and they said that a lot of the homes in that area are abandoned. I could say for myself, being a resident here in Tucson, Arizona, that I don't feel like a lot of those houses are abandoned. I feel like a lot of people live in those homes, although this is a retired state. A lot of people live here that aren't from here, and they will leave their home. During the winter time, they'll come out here because it gets so cold where they live, because a lot of people live on the East Coast. So they'll come to Tucson when it gets really cold up east. And then other times, you know how it goes. But so I think that was an interesting comment too. So, as far as somebody just kind of scavenging around and them just, looking for a home to break into. Like I said, this is how we know they're not telling us that. So I'm glad you kind of brought that up, because the reason why I say they don't know that, oh my God, I'm getting all mixed up here. The reason why I said that, I lost my thought there, because I'm thinking about so much at once. It's gonna bother me if I forget what I was gonna say right now. But I'm really freezing right now, bro. I just froze, bro. Man. But I think that these guys knew the home very well. And it's kind of crazy to me because they said it was a 40-minute span, and I think that it was sooner than that. I don't think that they were there 40 minutes. I think they were there pretty quick. The fact that they didn't take anything in the home, we don't know, and that's why we know that they're not telling us anything. That's exactly why we know that they're not telling us a lot, because they didn't know. They didn't say if anything was missing, and I think it's important that they bring the family over there so they can confirm what's missing. There's a lot that really needs to happen, but it is a crime scene, so it's no longer a crime scene, but everybody thinks it is. But at one point it was a crime scene. But I think the family should at least go over there to confirm anything missing. Although I guess they could do that over the phone. But I think they broke in through the back when they broke in. I also believe that it was definitely more than one person. I think it took two guys to definitely carry Nancy. They definitely did not carry a person through that neighborhood. I'm a Tucson resident, and I know I've went over there myself, and there's no way in hell any man on this earth is going to be able to carry a body for miles. You know what I'm saying? And not travel in a vehicle and be able to get out of there. Otherwise, that person would have had to dump her body and then keep on moving. You know what I'm saying? So if they were, there's no way her body was dumped, because that would have came up. Also, there's no way in hell somebody could dig in that short period of time. But they could have had time, although it was 2 a.m. So if somebody dug a hole, not to say they didn't have a hole ready already, but if somebody dug a hole at 2 a.m., I don't think they would even, I don't know how long it takes to dig a hole. Maybe it takes an hour to dig a hole, but I think digging a hole big enough to put a body in could take hours. but I don't think at all. There's no way that happened. So they definitely traveled in a vehicle. There's no doubt about it. That's why they're trying to find a vehicle. And I don't even think they necessarily care about finding a license plate. I feel like they just want to track down the actual vehicle, so that way if they see that particular vehicle in town, they'll track down that vehicle. And I'm pretty sure they'll send it out to other states as well, and obviously do a traffic stop on that vehicle to figure it out. But I don't know. That's just my take on it. I definitely do not believe that this was a random pull-up. Somebody just storming through the neighborhood. It's too dark. You're at night. You're cruising through the foothills. They have a thing with the city where they don't have any street lights. So most of the people that live in that neighborhood don't want street lights. So how the hell are you seeing any activity going on in a home if it's pitch black? How do you know, and how can you confirm if anyone's home if it's pitch black? Think about it. Come on now. Unless they've been surveillancing the home throughout these days and weeks, and then, you know, somehow they provoked themselves to believe that there was no one in that home and decided to hit it that night, I guess. But there's no way this wasn't. They knew exactly when she got home as well. Like, she got home, it says about 9:47 or something like that. Somewhere in the 9 o'clock area, Nancy had got home. So, I mean, I guess if I'm gonna rob a house, it's definitely going to be in the middle of the night, around the time that they did it. But I know for sure they probably forced their way in the back, because when they asked the sheriff didn't really want to say. And he had said something. He pretty much said it, but he didn't say it. So, I don't know. Yeah, they're definitely not telling anything. Everything. Definitely not. Definitely not. Anyway, let me continue this. I was trying to read through the chat real quick, but let me continue this video here. I think they also wanted to find that backpack also, which just seems like the backpack hasn't been helpful at all. It's kind of crazy, but I think the reason why they wanted to find the kind of backpack is so that way they could just maybe be, I don't know if it's even possible, but I think they would be able to pull all the transactions at any point in time that happened at any Walmart in Tucson, just to see if they could track that surveillance of that person buying this specific backpack. That you know, maybe they can, but I think that was their purpose of finding the type of backpack that the suspect was wearing in that video in front of Nancy's home that we got surveillance of.
Logo on that backpack. Maybe I'm blind. Okay? I couldn't see it. But people are saying that this is the backpack. It is what it is. Let me address this one more time just for everybody, because I want everybody to have a good viewing experience as we go through this. Number one, I think we could get to 1,000 likes. We have 1,400 people watching right now. We could get to 1,000 likes. Please hit the like button so we get to 1,000 likes. Number two, if you're having problems hearing the audio, you have to refresh or restart your stream. Why? Because I have metrics here from YouTube, and YouTube is telling me that I am streaming excellently, audio and video excellently right now in 4K.
That person we see on.
Again. All right, let's do it.
That's it. Now, it's not some small sporting goods store, but it is something. And you have to believe that law enforcement is talking to Walmart and getting records and going through who bought that backpack, maybe in recent weeks or recent months, if there's anything there that could help lead them to that person we see in the images released by the FBI. Now, it could be huge in finding that person we see on the surveillance video on the front porch. And when you look at that video of the person in the mask and you see that backpack, you notice that the backpack is full. It's unclear what they have inside of it. Now, along with the images of the backpack, the FBI also put out.
Hey, I got a question for y'all. What do y'all think was in that backpack, though? Like, what you think was in that bag? Like, what did he possibly need in that bag to go in that house and do? Like, for real. I can't think of what he would really have in that bag besides, like, I can't, like, movie stuff, like tape, tools, maybe a drill, just in case they had to take down that camera somehow to break it. You know, but I'm sure they probably just ripped it out the wall. But, you know, I wish they'd just tell us some type of detail so we know a little bit of something. But what do y'all think what do y'all think was in that bag? Like, what could we possibly add in that bag?
A description of this person. They say the suspect is a male, standing around 5'9" or 5'10" with an average build. May not sound like a lot, but when you think of that height, you can rule out a lot of people. Now, the FBI also doubled the amount of money it's offering as a reward for information that would help find Nancy Guthrie and the person or people who took her. So that reward from the FBI is now at $100,000. Law enforcement confirmed to media that a pair of gloves was also found during an extensive search of Nancy's neighborhood. It's unclear if they are connected to Nancy's case. The Pima County Sheriff told KVOA TV that, quote, quite a number of gloves have been found in their search efforts, and some of them are as far away as 10 minutes to the east and 10 minutes to the west. It is unclear if any of those things could help find Nancy Guthrie. Now, the Pima County Sheriff, in his interview with Fox News, also said that they did not find a glove inside Nancy Guthrie's house or on her property specifically. It's unclear what other pieces of video law enforcement have.
Correct. That's what I just said.
So we just addressed that. FBI told the world when they gave an interview that Pima County Sheriff's Department did find a glove and shipped that evidence out to Florida. We don't know who's lying, ladies and gentlemen. Basically, in this instance, it's a he said, she said. Or he said, rather. Or he said, unknown said. They, them type situation. Because we don't know. But we already see the contradictions in the other statements he made, so how can we trust that he's telling the truth over the FBI when it comes to the glove in the house? We'll have to find out eventually. That evidence will come out. But we don't know. Because his track record is shot so far. Let's keep going.
You know, if it's more than just what we've seen, that we know the FBI had to go and dig very deep, they say, into the servers for the Nest camera to pull out images that they didn't think existed until just a couple of days ago, showing that man on the front steps. Again, it's unclear what other pieces of information they have, the video that they potentially could release to the public, but we do know that they are asking the public.
Yeah, Luke, I kind of feel the same way sometimes. I don't know, but I don't want to believe it's the cartel. But sometimes it does tell me it is. I don't know. I don't think it's the cartel, but sometimes I do feel like it is.
Like for more video, specifically people with home surveillance cameras, just like Nancy Guthrie apparently had. Thursday afternoon, the sheriff put this call out saying that they want video from January 1st to February 2nd, 2026 of a 2-mile radius of this part of town. This is near East Skyline Drive and North Campbell Avenue, and they want anything that shows vehicles, traffic, pedestrians, or suspicious activity. Now, Nancy's home is about a 4-minute drive south of that intersection, and law enforcement say they are reaching out to people on the Neighbors app. So anybody watching, if you get a request from law enforcement for video, if you're joining us from Pima County, Arizona, the official request will have like a blue check mark on it. Now, law enforcement also put a...
All right, real quick. Angel, a Commander 23 $5 super chat says, if you're watching this live stream, please show your appreciation by smashing the like button. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you, Angel. Service weapon in the back, the small of my back. That's crazy. Never put my service weapon in the back, the small of my back. That's crazy. Listen, they may have different training and all that good stuff, but I'm not doing that. Because I don't have no control over that weapon. What if somebody just comes up right behind you and grabs that? That's crazy. But hey, we see some wild cowboy stuff when you see cops and law enforcement from around the country. That's some cowboy stuff right there.
Did say they were looking for video at specific times that I want to talk about again, because KVOA TV said
Yeah, I
that
don't
people
know
in
if
the
I'd rock
Catalina
it in the
foothills
back either,
area
but
of Tucson, that's where Nancy
plus
lives,
I was trying to look cool.
were asked for surveillance camera footage for very specific times, like January 11th between 9 p.m. and midnight. That's roughly 22 days before Nancy was taken. Then they also want footage from the morning of January 31st. That's the day before Nancy was taken, between 9:30 in the morning and 11 a.m. And KVOA says that's because there is a suspicious vehicle on a street at around 10 o'clock in the morning.
Chris goes, I don't know what you mean. He says he doesn't want to carry the tent's original bag, so it's stuffed in the backpack. I don't get that.
Nearby.
Okay.
So with that said, I want to show you the missing persons poster that's now out by the FBI. And again, the reward at $100,000.
Look at that poster, guys. What y'all think about that? I've never seen a missing person poster like that. That's different. So they're even 100% confirming that this is the guy that took her. So that kind of tells me that they do have the video and footage of their maybe they do have footage of them carrying her out somehow. I don't know.
For information to find her or the people who may have taken her. And if you have any information on Nancy Guthrie, contact the Pima County Sheriff's Department, 520-351-4900 for the FBI, 1-800-CALL-FBI, or tips.fbi.gov. Joining us now to talk about the latest on this case is retired NYPD Detective Tom Smith, co-host of the Gold Shield Show. It's always great to have you on Law and Crime. Last night, we're following along once again as a SWAT team moves in. You have two different locations. You have this traffic stop, and then you have a raid of a house. And from the outside, it feels like, okay, here we go. This is, it's heading in the right direction. And now we're finding out that both people who are detained have been released. What do you make of that development?
Well, let's back up a little bit with what happened before that. They had to have enough evidence to go in front of a judge and get a warrant.
Right.
So
and listen, I've gone before judges asking for warrants, and they've denied me. I had one case that involved trafficking, and I went before the judge, and we're like, listen, we want to get all electronic devices. Judge is like, why you need it for? We're like, well, judge, there's allegations of trafficking here. And they're like, you know what? I'm going to cross that out. First of all, we never seen a judge cross out a search warrant before. They usually say rewrite it. The judge literally just crossed it. I guess she didn't feel like coming back. She was like, I'm busy. So she crossed out the electronic devices. And then so we went, and lo and behold, what happened when we breached that door? There's cameras all over the place that was recording the naughty business and selling it online. As we told the judge we was expecting, we'd find. So what did we have to do? Lock down the crime scene, go back to the judge again, to get another search warrant to allow us to take all electronic devices as we tried to get initially. So judges, they don't just willy-nilly give you search warrants. You have to convince them. And even sometimes when you convince them, they say, nah, no,
That's
or
crazy.
Partial, maybe a little bit of what you want, but not all of what you want. It's not something that you just get automatically. At least it's not supposed to work that way. So I'm trying to figure out, like, the only way I can see them getting these search warrants is if they get witnesses that they can verify who are saying, I saw Nancy in the house. And if that's the case, why are you not charging these people for lying if you go into the house and it turns out that these folks had nothing to do with Nancy Guthrie? I don't know how they could get these search warrants if they don't have really good evidence that shows that they're on the right track.
That is kind of interesting.
To get the warrant, you got to show the probable cause of that warrant, not just where you.
Yeah, so where did they get that probable cause to even go in that person's home with SWAT in the first place, though?
Wanted, but you have to get into specifics about what you're looking for and where in that house you're going to search.
Yes.
You can't just blankly get I want a search warrant for this house. So they would have had to have laid this case out to a judge about what they have, and none of this, obviously, we know,
right?
In the public. So the judge was convinced that they had enough to issue this warrant, and then they went and tactically took it down and took the warrant.
Yeah, Luke, you do got a point there. He says cartel is experienced with disappearing people. It's that simple. Yeah, I mean, you got a point there. I mean, cartel would be the ones that are super, super good at this, but I don't understand why the cartel would want why they would want Nancy Guthrie or why they would do this to her. You know what I'm saying? I just, that's why I don't think it would be the cartel. But that's just me, though.
Play and came up with what it was. So where we're at now is, you know, again, every time in this case, Chris, we go kind of 3 or 4 steps forward, we go back 5. And that's just the way the pace of this case has been going. But it's not unusual. You know, complex cases like this is what happens.
Yeah, and we were talking to a retired homicide detective from Pima County yesterday, and it was about, I just asked about, because I can see frustration from the public, and I know, like, if you're an investigator, like, who cares what the public, someone on the internet and, like, criticism like that, but it's like they keep going back to Nancy's house or Annie's house, and it's like, well, what did you find today that you couldn't have found, like, yesterday? And I know that that's just kind of how this process goes.
Now, things do evolve. That's why I've never been mad that they keep going back to the house. As a detective, I know that that's how that works. My issue is they're not properly guarding this crime scene. They're not learning from the lessons that they were supposed to learn the day before. So we just keep making the same mistake. We go in there, we grab evidence, we don't secure the crime scene, we say that we're done, then more information comes out, then we go back again, we do the same process again, then we say we're done, then more information comes back, then we go back and we do the same process again. And it's like, when are we going to learn, shut this place down? I'm just concerned with the lack of professionalism of how this whole case is being handled.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've been pretty highly upset about this whole thing and everything that went down in the past couple of days. It is super frustrating. It's highly frustrating. Yeah. Norris says, yep, I don't know what the hell kind of investigation, clues, etc. they have. He says, we're blind. He says, speculations are all we have. It's frustrating, really. Like, it really is, man. I really am starting to get super, super frustrated and overwhelmed. And I don't want to give up on Nancy. I don't. But at some point, we all got to go back to our lives. You know what I'm saying? And we're not going to be able to just sit here and continue to dwell on this at some point. And I'm pretty sure if Nancy's gone, she'd probably want us to move on as well. You know, I can't say that, but for all we know, Savannah, knows her mom well enough to know she wouldn't want her to pay someone if they were to hold her for ransom. For all we know, we don't know what held Savannah back from paying that ransom thing. And not to get off topic, but it just kind of came to mind just now. But yeah.
Not so much that they keep going back, because you follow leads. And if the leads bring you back to that house, then so be it. Crime scene analysts, crime scene technicians are not gods. They can't put on special goggles and see what only God can see. They have to go by the evidence. The detectives get the evidence. Sometimes that detective says you got to go back because you didn't search this area because our evidence is telling us there's something might be probative in that area, and then you got to go do what you got to do. But it's about how is this being handled that concerns me. Let's keep going.
When someone is detained, we'll see someone get arrested and we know that then they're in custody. But then there's also times where it might be a witness or someone who may have some information, and then they're invited down to the police station, and then they can, have an interview with detectives there. How would you characterize that?
Well, it all depends on the circumstances. All right, these are very specific circumstances that have to do with the search warrant. So that was one of the points that came out last night, one of them was handcuffed. People get handcuffed for everyone's safety. That is why they're handcuffed, because the police going in, the agents going in, don't know who these people are. And if it has anything to do related to this crime, the perp who was at that front door did have a firearm on them. So you have to take that all into account. So detaining them means they can't hold them indefinitely, but at that moment, they're not free to leave until questions are answered. Now, if they want a lawyer, fine. That's their absolute right to do so. But they're conducting an investigation, and at that time are not free to leave. Then process goes on, things get straightened out, questions get answered, and then, everyone's free to go, and we'll be in touch. I guarantee you, as I sit here, they're not alone. All right, there's a couple of cars around that area making sure they don't take off, they don't head to an airport, they don't head for a border. something like that, because they're still on the radar, and there's still questions out there about that warrant last night.
With the detaining as well, like I know you can hold someone for like 24 hours, and in this case I think they were held for about 12 or less. Do you read into anything that they were let go, where it wasn't like, we're going to hold you up until that exact moment, which would be
big break,
probably like 3 o'clock tomorrow morning or something like that, like when they were brought into custody? Do you read into the fact?
Real quick, I just dropped 5 free gift memberships to 5 lucky people in the chat. Appreciate you guys showing love and joining me tonight. So I definitely wanted to show you guys some love. I hope you guys enjoy our strategic. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet.
For questioning, and every time, as a detective who did this, we took people in for questioning all the time. The people who have intimate knowledge of this case and every piece of evidence they have are going to know within a little while whether these people are involved or not, just through questioning, through interviews, through some sort of interrogation. They're going to know whether they're on the right track or not. And if you're on the right track,
they let them go.
That time frame extends, obviously. If you know that
they
they're
definitely
not involved,
let them go. I don't know why they let them go.
You don't really play games.
Obviously, they weren't the suspects. That's why they let them go. But I just don't understand why we send a Range Rover out for inspection. Well, never mind. I forgot. The Range Rover has nothing to do with it. See, all these people in the chat that were trolling yesterday got me thinking the Range Rover had some type of the Clover incident had something to do with the 3 suspects that were at the home that they pretty much raided last night with SWAT. So, but it doesn't.
All right, so basically, if they release those folks, they don't got the goods on them, to be honest with you. All right, and I don't know what authority they would have to stop these folks from leaving the country unless they're going to plan on pull the trigger on what they do have and arrest them at that point. These folks are free to travel. I want to make sure you guys understand.
Big welcomes to those of y'all tuning in tonight. Big welcomes, man. I appreciate y'all stopping by and plugging into the stream with your boy.
That if you're not charged with a crime, you are free to travel. All right. If a district attorney doesn't go and put some special hold on you because you're a material witness in a case, barring you from leaving the state or something like that, you are free to travel. This is the United States of America. They may have detained them, they questioned them, they searched their homes. Guess what? If they don't have the goods to arrest them after that, these folks are free to travel. My apologies. You guys know I'm still getting over a cold. Big shout out to Aki, who gave 5 gift membership as well. Aki, Queen Moderator. Showing that love. Appreciate you guys, man. Thank you so much, Aki. And make sure you guys thank Aki for your gift membership if you were lucky enough to get one. Let's keep going.
Trying to come up with different things. But they're going to, I guarantee you they took their time. And the people who have the best knowledge of this case are the ones who are questioning them to make sure all the questions got answered and they're on the right track or they're not on the right track. And obviously there was enough last night with the interviews that were conducted to let them go at this time.
And when you look at, and I know the gentleman Carlos in Ricos, Arizona earlier, the sheriff said earlier this week that his alibi seems to check out, but it was like cell phone data that had them believing that he was someone that they just wanted to talk to. And then they did a court-ordered search of his home. And then we don't really know the details as of yet officially about what led them to this.
Screw it. We're just going to do a free t-shirt giveaway. How about that? Got a free t-shirt for you. So whoever's lucky to get that t-shirt, good luck to you. So how do you get the t-shirt? In a second, I'm going to log. Guys got to be the winner. But that's how it works. Only people who participate win the free
traffic stop at a Culver's nearby. But just from what you're kind of seeing on the outside, like what seems to be the strategy of how they're identifying 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home
and to win the free t-shirt.
A Culver's nearby. House about 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home, and then you have this traffic stop at a Culver's nearby. But just from what you're kind of seeing on the outside, like what seems to be the strategy of how they're identifying people who they want to talk to?
There's probably a number of ways, Chris. You have cell phone data, you have any DNA test they're doing, We don't know the
But
results.
how does that Culver incident have anything to do with Nancy Guthrie's investigation? That's what I don't understand.
Of the plea to the public of looking at their cell.
And they keep showing this guy, you know, because they have doubts to whether or not this might be one of the guys that have something to do with the guy in the surveillance that we saw in front of Nancy's home. This guy is a completely different guy. I don't even know why they're trying to distract us with this. Because at this point, it's just a distraction.
Their cameras on their houses for a certain period of time. So, and just the leads that are coming in.
Guys.
I mean, they're up to, I think, 30,000 leads that they have gotten since the video came out.
God.
So you have to track them down. And if one comes in that's viable and you know, you go through it and you can collaborate what they're saying on the tip, that's going to lead to maybe another step and another step. So it all has to do with what's being collected and what the investigators know right now. And again, I'm telling you right now, we know maybe 5% of what they know right now.
And that's a good point, especially because, and I can see the exhaustion in the comment section of some of our stories.
All right,
and then
starting now,
people just.
After 5 minutes, we're going to choose a winner. The more you talk, the more entries you get to win the free T-shirt. You win the free T-shirt, you have 24 hours to email me your contact information, also proof of your screen name. That's easy to do. Here, I'm just going to put, give me, if you go guarantee shirt, set up, right? It's funds for the union that I'm a part of.
Kind of one other kind of anecdotal part of it that stood out to me was in the detaining the other night with the gentleman near the U.S.-Mexico border. Like he talked about whether it was the agent.
And I forgot to give my moderator a T-shirt, but I did buy an extra one. So OB, you will be getting your T-shirt in the mail. I forgot about you, but I just got reminded. So I got 2 shirts I'm giving away. One is going to OB.
Doctor says I think the
other one is going
guy
to
is just up
lucky
there,
winner. So keep going. 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. 5 minutes at 12:42.
You know, you could have a
our winner.
solid point right there.
Deputies who are.
That might be that could very much well be the thing. Yeah, he might be kind of looking out too, and he could also be, because you know at one point they show a picture of the suspect with no gun, and he also has on no backpack. But I also feel like someone's trolling and they just added that picture in there. I don't know, man. This thing is, like Shannon said, it's just been so dodgy. I wanted to see if I could find that.
Interviewing him, that they had said they think that his eyes look like the person in the surveillance picture. And then his mother-in-law said that when they came into the home with the search warrant, they showed
what
the
do y'all
surveillance
think?
pictures and said, is this your son?
Guy, you think this guy is Hispanic, or you think this guy is actually a white guy, though?
That they had said they think that his eyes look like the person in the surveillance picture. And then his mother-in-law said that when they came into the home with the search warrant, they showed the surveillance pictures and said, is this your son-in-law? And it's like, when I heard that, like, I was worried where it felt like they really thought they had the guy, and they didn't, according to the sheriff. Is there any concern that might have been the path that they were taking, but then really at the end of the day, like now they're kind of, okay, this guy wasn't it. Now we have to start back at square one and figure out who else might have been in the area that night.
Oh, sure. You know, I hope, you know, I'm gonna take a leap in doing this for over 30 years, that they didn't just go on what the eyes look like. All right? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say there was a lot more to it than just his eyes. They might have said that to him or his family, but you're not going to a judge to get a warrant and saying, well, his eyes match. You know, so there was much more to do with that. But the thing about...
So, Shannon, you still believe that Tommaso's involved somehow? Yeah. I don't think it's Tommaso, but I think he might be involved. Yeah, that could be a high possibility. And then they did ask the sheriff if the family was counted out as suspects, and he said that no one was counted out.
About this, Chris, is you have, and let me just try to explain how it works. So when you have this complex of a case, you have certain groups and certain teams that are tasked to do certain things. LPR readers, surveillance cameras, you know, background checks of people in the area, criminal histories of people. You have different teams who are tasked to do stuff. So even when this happens, and a takedown.
I don't think it was a hit at all, considering they left everything. I think they were just there for Nancy. For whatever reason, I don't know why. Something just tells me somebody was really angry with Nancy about something. I don't know. I don't feel like it had anything to do with the Epsteins. I feel like somebody literally targeted Nancy. I don't know why. Something just tells me that's what it was. But we really don't know what they all left, because some people think that they took jewelry. But his backpack was full, guys. Think about it. Just think about this. You go into a house and you're going to rob the house. Why would your backpack be full? So if you're going to, say you're bringing tools into that home because you might need tools to get in, and you're there to rob it, and how the heck you going to get all of the stuff that you take from the home in the bag? You're going to leave that stuff that you brought? Because that would probably be a mistake. And you would probably leave DNA behind if you left your tools. So if someone was there to rob a house and they were in the area trying to see if they could rob a house and maybe get some stuff, I don't think their backpack would be full on the way in. And if it was, they made a huge mistake, ran into Nancy while they were in there, and then someone ended up maybe shooting her. I think that they would be able to tell whether or not a gun was fired off in that home. And then if they did shoot her, maybe that, the gun went through her body and hit somewhere in the house. Maybe they left a shell. I think they were there for a very short amount of time. I think they were in and out. I don't feel like they were there for a long period of time. They are saying they were there for about 40 minutes, but they're only putting the time together from the time that her pacemaker went off. So they don't even know how long that they were there. Although they're not telling us a lot, so they may have a even better idea than we think, as far as how long that they were there.
Of this magnitude took place last night. All those other groups are still working, and they're still coming up with other things that might lead them to the conclusion of this case. So just because an operation like last night takes place, everything doesn't shut down. Everything's still going on. So as much as last night we all thought looked good, there's still leads that are being followed up.
All right, real quick, big shout out to Samara K with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Samara, for showing that love. Appreciate you. And Don B85 with a $5 super chat says, put towards shipping, man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Man,
that does
so
help out.
crazy,
Like I said,
dude.
thank you.
Brian Koberger, and it was, hey, we don't have a suspect, and everybody's piling on law enforcement in Idaho. Getting back to Brian,
One more
to the
minute.
public, like they could be working something else behind the scenes entirely. I keep thinking back to Brian Koberger, and it was, hey, we don't have a suspect, and everybody's piling on law enforcement in Idaho, but they very much did. They were just kind of building their case as it goes. Clearly, in that situation, though, you're dealing with what we knew at the time was a murder. In this case, it's still trying to figure out where Nancy Guthrie actually is. On some of the public statements part of it, and this is, maybe...
I think I'm done with that guy's videos. I just wanted to get on to share a couple of videos with you guys. There was some pretty interesting videos tonight, I thought. I think I got one more video I wanted to share with y'all that I thought was pretty interesting. I want to see if I could actually pull up the video and find it, though. But man, today just feels like the most driest day. And then Mr. Boots on the Ground isn't live. He hasn't been live for a while. I know that guy's super tired and probably just wants to get some rest. And that's probably what he's doing right now. But I just really thought that was super duperly interesting, based on the part where he caught the sheriff lying. I mean, the sheriff switched his story. He had, maybe I should just go back, but the sheriff is really, really effing up. And I think he wants to prove a point, and I think that's his ego is getting in the way of just letting the FBI take over this thing and just simply helping them out and doing his part. And I think it's really, really getting in the, it could be getting in the way of this investigation. It really could, but who knows? But I think the sheriff also are withholding a lot of information from the FBI. I feel like they also know a lot more than the FBI, which is kind of questionable at the same time too, because it's also like, could this be even an inside job from the sheriff? Could the sheriff be trying to cover up and cover their ass? Is this what's going on here? You know, it's just so many ways you could think in this situation. It's like hard to put a nail on what exactly you think is going on. It's like we're just waiting for our next clue. And then that opens up another door to come to realization about certain things. It's just a lot going on though, man. It's so much going on. This story has been so flippy floppy. It's crazy. This definitely calls for like a Netflix type thing, man, for sure. A Netflix movie or story, documentary. That would be awesome. I don't think I played this video at all. So I kind of wanted to watch this video here. Let me pull it up on the screen real quick. Thought this guy had some pretty interesting things to say. The way this guy carries himself, Darian Porcher, he's one of the people that are being interviewed in the video. He's in front of Nancy's home. I feel like he is maybe a former FBI. I get that vibe. I'm not too sure what he does. But I think he might be some type of former FBI or something like that.
Darren is live on location outside of Nancy Guthrie's home. I introduce him right now, my good friend Darren Porcher. Thank you, Darren.
Thanks for having me, Ron. Okay, let's go to the beginning of this case. When we start this off, we have
man, Chief looking like a complete fool. Idiot.
Nancy was dropped off at her house by one of her relatives. And after being dropped off at the house by one of her relatives, she was in the house for a period of time, and there was an abduction that occurred. We all saw the video as it related to the assailant at the front door that was wearing the black gloves, the ski mask, the backpack, a holster, attempting to get into the house from the front door. That's only a 20-second video. The video doesn't show you where the entry was made. And it's a unique situation in terms of the video, because the Nest cameras that were in the house were not active because she no longer had a subscription. And what Google did, because Google is the parent company of Nest, they had a contingent of engineers that were able, that was actually deleted. And what made this such a challenge is because since there was no subscription, it was now in code. It was in a coded language. So the engineers had to reformat that code and configure this into a digital format in video. It was very challenging. The odds were against them.
Did you
but
hear
they were
that?
successful. They got it done.
Run that back. What did he just say? Why did that sound like he made that sound like it was so complicated?
So the engineers had to reformat that code and configure this into a digital format in video. It was very challenging. The odds were against them, but they were successful. They got it done. That being said, we got the 20-second video, and what it shows you is it shows you a backpack, and it shows you a backpack, it shows you the mask, it shows you sneakers, and it shows you a holster. The backpack, which is an Ozark Trail backpack, is something that's sold at Walmart. The holster is a strategy brand holster that's also sold at Walmart. Now, what happens with why this is important is because the investigators are going to want to connect with.
Hey, Cherry, that's a good point you made right there. Good point. Why have we never seen the back of the house? That's a really good question. Good question right there, Cherry.
the law enforcement component
This thing
within
has been crazy.
Walmart to find out when these items were sold. Now, many people will say, "Hey, look, if cash is used, it's not trackable." That's not true, because whenever you make a purchase at Walmart, the item is entered into a system. So that same transaction would have both the strategy holster and the Ozark Trail backpack in the same on the same receipt. So what law enforcement would do in a situation like that is they would go to the video and find out when that person made the purchase. Now, one of the things that people question is, was the intent an abduction? Was it a burglary that went bad? That's something that we don't know. But the one thing I can tell you is this. When we look at this, I personally believe that this is a home invasion. And when we speak to home invasions or burglaries, when we speak to burglaries, there's two factions that you want to look into. One, we have a daytime burglar and we have a nighttime burglar. Two totally different skill sets. The daytime burglar would be someone that actually conducts a level of surveillance at the location to see if there's no one there, and then they'll enter the residence, they'll take what they want, and then they'll leave.
Yeah, I'm not too sure why they had to hold that sheet, Lisa. That was crazy to me. I really don't understand that. That was super, super weird. They had that sheet over whatever it was. I don't know. But like I said, a lot of people were trolling in JLR's chat yesterday, and then I guess some guy, Dolly, claimed he had maybe seen a body or something like that. Because I had overheard somebody had smoked themselves. Man, I guess I'll say it like that here, unalive themselves. So I don't know. I really don't know. It's like, and then if this was a normal traffic stop, they're treating, it's like almost like this. My city right now is treating every traffic stop like it has a relation to Nancy Guthrie's investigation. I don't know what or how they got this hit on this vehicle, and somehow it was related to something that that involved the investigation of Nancy. So it just, a lot of this stuff is just not making no sense. We were supposed to get a press conference from the sheriff yesterday, but they decided not to do it, and then they said they would give us a press in writing for the most part, and then they decided not to do that. So we're waiting on a lot of things right now. We're waiting on more evidence, and we're also just waiting on to hear something from the sheriff. We haven't heard anything at all.
There's no intent on embarking upon a campaign of violence. And I give you an example. We've seen a lot of these celebrities, such as Patrick Mahomes, singers, etc., in Los Angeles, that have had their homes burglarized when they were on tour, doing shows, etc. Now, the nighttime burglar is very different. The nighttime burglar is a person that understands that the propensity exists for there to be an individual in the house, and that nighttime burglar is willing to use force. We had an individual that went into the house, abducted Nancy Guthrie, and we also had blood that was on the front porch. I want to say we had a blood trail that led from inside of the house to the front porch. So it's clear that there was a level of violence attached to this. In addition to that, Nancy had an Apple Watch, and the Apple Watch was aligned with her pacemaker. And so during that 2 a.m. hour, the Apple Watch was disconnected from the pacemaker, and we believe that is the point of time when the abduction occurred. Now, we only had the one individual that was on camera, but the FBI is working to try to do the same thing as it relates to the what was done with the Google engineers to reformat what was erased based.
Lisa Lee says it showed a trunk, like a suitcase trunk, mega potential regarding its content, but externally it was just a bigger suitcase sitting on another one or a speaker box. So is that what Dolly on? Because I don't know if you saw Dolly's stream last night for whoever Dolly is. That's what I overheard. But is that something that you saw on his stream or something that you overheard? Because if that's what he was screaming, oh my God about, that's a little dramatic, I think, because we don't even know what's in there. But maybe that's just what he thought, being what he saw. That's just what came to mind. So that's what made him react the way he did, I guess.
It's on the data with the unsubscribed information on the Nest cameras. This is an arduous task. The first transformation of video happened in 9 days. It took them a long time. The second, which is going to focus on the cameras that are on the interior of the house, is still ongoing. They haven't had success with this, but they're working on it. So another piece to that is this, I want to say the ground here is referred to as hard pack. Okay? A lot of people will say, well, hey, why don't you have a tire? Do you have tire prints? Do you have footprints? And the answer is no, because this hard pack is very densely compressed sand, and you're just not going to be able to get a footprint, nor will you be able to get tire prints off of this this landscape here. Outside on this roadway, once you leave the pathway from Nancy's house, and you get to this roadway, this is basically an asphalt surface. It's a hard surface, but in addition to that, Nancy weighed roughly 150 pounds. So it was impossible for the assailant to remove her on his own and bring her outside of, and bring her outside. So he had to have assistance. In addition to that, he had to have a vehicle.
Wow, you hear
so
that?
we don't know where the vehicle pulled in, because I just want to pan around and show you what the neighborhood looks like. You don't have surveillance cameras. I mean, there's a ton of media here, don't get me wrong. But at the same token, you do not have surveillance cameras. You're going to have to go a distance before you get to surveillance cameras. So haven't captured video to support if there was a vehicle, who the co-conspirators are. So as we move forward in the investigation, there's one of the things that the investigators are looking to do is embark upon something we refer to as geofencing. Geofencing is when you set it's a perimeter that's set up to extract all of the cell phone information in a particular area. This is important because to dump a cell phone tower takes a lot. There's a lot involved in that. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. But however, we're able to pinpoint the time in which we believe the abduction occurred, which was in the 2 a.m. hour. So when you look at an area such as this during the 2 a.m. hour, you're going to have very limited cell phone traffic at that particular time. That works to the advantage of law enforcement. So as we fast forward, there's been three separate instances of detainment. We had the first instance of detainment involved an Amazon delivery person that was taken into custody 60 miles away from here in an area, a city called Rio Rico, which is just short of the Mexican border. They took him into custody, and the belief of why he was taken into custody.
Wow, so this guy's saying that even if they did step on that dirt right there, they wouldn't have been able to get a footprint from that dirt. It looks like this guy used to do crime scene, and he's some type of maybe a former FBI, or, oh no, it looks like, it says RET NYPD. I'm not too sure what that means. But, he did say she weighed up to 150 pounds, so there's no way that they could have carried her on their own. Yeah, you know, you have to understand dead weight too as well when that comes into play. I transfer a lot of patients at work because I do physical therapy, so I'm always getting patients into their wheelchairs, and some of them are non-weight bearing and they can't, stand at all. So, and they feel a lot more than they actually weigh. So dead weight weighs a lot more than than the person actually weighs, and I wonder what that would calculate out to if we were to see what the difference feels like, because I feel like Dead weight literally amounts to more than the actual weight. That's at least what it feels like to me. But yeah, definitely 2 people in this for sure, if not 3. But I'm
It's
gonna
based on
say
what I
2.
mentioned earlier, the geofencing. The geofencing was able to capture his cell phone signal at this particular location. That's why they detained him, but they found out that he was not a suspect, so they let him go. We fast forward, and now we move to what happened just yesterday, whereas we had we had 2 separate apprehensions. We had the first apprehension that consisted of 2 males.
Karan says I still think she was moved via wheelchair. What? That would be crazy. Wheelchair? They would have time to put her in a wheelchair, then put her in the car, and then put the wheelchair in the trunk and then go? Nah, man, there's no way. No way at all. She had a cane. She walked with a cane.
And a mother, which is approximately 2 miles away from here. It's not that far. So I want to say it's an 8-minute drive. It took me 8 minutes to drive from here to the location where these individuals were apprehended in a search warrant.
This is last night, right, Darren?
Yes.
Okay.
They were detained and they were set free. The second apprehension happened at a place called Culver's, which is a fast food restaurant relatively close to here, and that's the parking lot where you see the gray Range Rover that.
Okay, we lost him. I don't know what happened. He might have clicked out. He should come back. Hey guys, if you like this type of perspective, Dr. Darren, great friend of mine. Again, I've known him for over 30 years. I'd say going on 35 years. We went to the police academy.
I was actually
we just got to the car. We were about TARP was being held up by the sheriff's department.
I don't know. This guy
can
comes
you
back
see?
in.
And Jude, I was actually
we just got to the car. We were talking about the Range Rover.
okay.
in the
So
car.
all right. So do you have a clear line of sight of me?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, excellent. So now we have the gray Range Rover, and the FBI conducted the stop of this vehicle. They set up a series of tarps, and I wasn't sure as to why that was done, because the first thing I think of is, were they looking to cover the identity of the individual, or were they looking to mask the content that was removed from the vehicle? I couldn't give you a clear answer on that, but just as the first group of people, the 2 males and the mother, were detained and released, the same held true with the Range Rover. And as it relates to the Range Rover,
Lisa Lee says, I'm curious what stalled her or them at the front door on the way out. What do you mean? Because we didn't get to see them on the way out. We just only got to see him pretty much cover the camera. Other than that, we didn't get to see anybody walk out. So I don't know exactly what you mean about that. Heaven says, why was the AA Advanced Adult Protection Investigator card on her front door? I have no idea. I've also heard that. I do see the card. That was interesting too, man. I don't know what to really think of that. That was really weird. That was really weird. They had the trunk open before, then later covered to back. Yeah, they did. They did. You know, I should have drove down there and I should have lived it. That's like 5 minutes away from where I'm at right now. It's kind of crazy. Somebody thinks she covered her. They covered her up on the way out with like a sheet or something like that. I don't know about that one either, man. I don't know. That's another thing I thought he had in the bag was like trash bags. But I hate to think that way because we're trying to stay hopeful here that Nancy's still alive. So I hope that that's not the case. And hopefully it was a sheet. Maybe they didn't carry her. Why are we saying this? We're just sharing our opinions. I hope she wasn't carried out at all. Hopefully she just maybe went willing to the car because she didn't have a choice. But from what I'm hearing, she's somebody who probably doesn't go out without a fight. So I honestly think that Nancy put up a fight.
Now we're still in a place where we're trying to figure this out, because just my hypothesis on this was,
But then part of me says she didn't even get a chance to put up a fight. So I'm just everywhere with this.
I believe that the Range Rover was possibly a vehicle that was used to remove Nancy Guthrie from the scene. And that's kind of where we are with this.
Yeah, it was Nancy's blood on the doorstep. I do understand that, which was kind of weird as well. I just want to see how they carried her out. That's all I need to see is how they carried it out, how they carried her out, and what it looked like when they carried her out. And I think they have that, but it's like gruesome to show that. So I don't think that they would even be able to share that on a live. Or I just don't think that would be appropriate for anybody to see, and I don't think that they would be able to show it. I guess it wouldn't be appropriate for the public. It'd be appropriate for me because we all want to see it, but I don't think that's gonna give us the suspects. So maybe that's why they didn't give us that part of the video, because I know they got more video. There's no way they didn't get more video.
I think we're at the beginning of the investigation, and the investigational path is going to continue to move forward. But I genuinely believe that this was a burglary that went wrong, and the intent was not for this to be a kidnapping. Most people will say, hey, look, burglars do not remove people, and that's true. I think that this was a situation where the burglar panicked, and that's when he removed the body because, or I should say Nancy Guthrie, because he didn't want her to be found by police. And I genuinely believe that she's no longer here with us because she takes heart medication, and she needs to have that heart medication within 24 hours, and that heart medication is not with her. This is an 84-year-old woman in challenging health. We're doing the best.
Did they actually confirm that heart medication isn't with her? Because I thought they didn't confirm any of that at all. But they did state that they pretty much left everything, including her phone, and also the pacemaker. I believe. Well, the pacemaker's in her heart, but they left the phone. The pacemaker information would probably be linked to that phone, I'm assuming, and everything that goes on with it. But why didn't they? Maybe they did go through Nancy's phone. Maybe see if she talked to anybody that seemed suspicious. You know, I don't know. We just don't really know what they took from that home. He thinks it's somebody that was wanting to rob the home and it actually went wrong. But I don't understand what would have provoked it to go wrong. She's 84 years old. What could she possibly physically do that caused them to kill her? Maybe they just were so scared going into the home. But these guys really proved that they weren't scared at all because of how he moved at the in that surveillance video that got caught on that Ring camera. Those guys were definitely, or that particular guy that we saw was definitely not scared whatsoever, not worried about nothing. He maybe peeked around the corner a bit one time. But whoever those guys were very, very smart. Whoever that guy was seems like he was very, very smart. The dumb part was kind of dumb because he had the revolver holster. But other than that, he seemed like he was super sophisticated, I think, as far as knowing what he was going to do. So, I don't know. I think that they knew what they wanted. I don't know. I think this guy's wrong on that part, but that's just me.
That we can in law enforcement to try to find her, but it just seems like we're coming up on a lot of dead ends, and I think it's somewhat of an embarrassment for law enforcement to stop a total of five different people on three different occasions, and have these individuals released. And it begs the question of what is the investigational process?
Yeah, Darren, that was excellent, overview of this entire case. You went from the beginning right to the end. There's many questions in between. We talked about, I saw a couple of your hits that you did yesterday and today, and they're fantastic. the one point that a lot
Hello,
of people,
Ronnie?
yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Darren? All right, Darren, can you hear me? All right, I guess he can't hear me. But we're on the screen here, and what I wanted to ask him is,
Ronnie, my apologies. The cell service is not good here.
all right,
Can
can
Yeah,
you hear
you
me?
nah,
hear me?
service isn't
Yeah, I
bad.
can hear
It's
you.
bad there.
Yes.
I
I
couldn't
can't
stream
hear
when I
you.
first went there.
Hold on a second. Let me see what I can do on your end. Stand by. Hold on. All right. I guess audio is not good on his end. He might not have the audio engaged, but it is what it is. But the question I did want to ask him, and it's just a shame that he's not getting this. Technical difficulties happen. You know, when you have cell service is kind of spotty there. But hopefully Darren can come back, enable the microphone so he can hear me in his ear. What I was going to ask him is about the blood. The blood trail was there when the first call came into 911. The first officers on the scene saw the blood on Nancy Guthrie's entryway to her home. I'm talking about the responding police officers. I was a patrol police officer for 5 years. I answered radio calls for home invasions. I've experienced quite a few of these things. And when you see blood or forced entry, or it's a special category person where they have age, health issues, psychological.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting thing that you just said right now. So this is why it's great to have that have public awareness, because the thoughts of other people are very so much helpful, man. It's crazy, but yeah, somebody stated in the chat, I just seen it right now, but I missed the person it was, but they said that it's kind of weird that the blood was only in that very spot right there. Because if somebody's, just got pretty much beat to death and they're dead, then I feel like the blood that's leaking is not going to stop leaking, and that would have leaked all the way to wherever they carried her to, which is, if they carried her, but that was really, really interesting to say there. I mean, that's crazy. I think it was Frank that said that. I was trying to figure out who it was that said that.
Or mental issues. These are what we call special category missings. And what I wanted to ask Dr. Darren, because he's a retired supervisor, he's a lieutenant with the New York City Police Department when he was active. I wanted to ask him if this sheriff's department took a huge mistake right from the get-go by not securing that crime scene. And that's what I wanted to ask him. And I'm so pissed that he didn't, that he wasn't able to hear me. But I'm going to text him real quick and see if he'll come back. But let's take a look at a little bit of his video as I can get him back up on the screen. So this is Dr. Darren from about 10 hours ago on Fox.
Taken down outside of the residence. To break down what we do know,
bear with me,
this morning is Darren Porcher, former NYPD lieutenant, joining us live there in Tucson. Good morning to you, Darren.
Good morning, and thanks for having me as a guest.
Absolutely. Well, let's just start. There were several developments overnight there. What do we know as of this morning?
Okay, as we parse this out, we had a magistrate that signed off on a search warrant, which resulted in a successful execution, taking 3 individuals into custody. I want to say just short of 2 miles away from Nancy's house.
So I think he's showing his segment that he had with Fox.
Then we had a 4th individual that was taken into custody at a Culver's fast food restaurant that was several miles away further. We don't have any groundbreaking information that's been introduced to the public. However, this is a break in the case that can assist to allow us to extract more information.
I agree 100%. And there's all different possibilities of where none of us are in the head of Sheriff at the Pima County Sheriff's Department. Sheriff Nanos, not a great speaker, and we're aware of that. They stopped the press conferences. But at the end of the day, I mean, look, it's better to be safe than sorry. And holding a crime scene with one sheriff's vehicle out in front of that driveway wouldn't have hurt anything. They're a 550 member department. Plus, they have volunteers like we have the.
There's a Pena County sheriff's vehicle that's positioned in front of the house. I should have showed you that, but I was just going through some internet challenges as it relates to that area, and I want to show you behind me.
This guy's thing is like cutting out.
I don't know if you could see, but pitch black over there. You know, my hotel is in close proximity. That's my hotel is behind me. But I totally agree with you as it relates to, you know, they could have done things better. And we always have an after action review.
Last I heard the sheriff was still in charge.
To find
Yeah,
out
why?
what we can do better. And this is one of those things that was
the
a
FBI is
lot
driving
for
this
a
train, I
smaller
think, but I
department
think
to
they
handle.
want to be in charge.
Understood. Darren, my next question is, have you ever seen search warrants executed with no arrests ×2? We saw this twice now. We saw the major operation that went on last night and then the first one.
It's 3. 2. It's 3. Because remember, we had the first one in Rio Rico. Second one, a house that's 2 miles away from where you had the 2 and the mother. Third, actual Range Rover. It's about 3.
Man, this guy's cutting in and out like crazy, bro.
Of 5, and none of them have been arrested before. Never seen.
Right, I understand. A little spotty with the audio on your end, and I know that you're outside your hotel, so I want you to get some rest. And if you can, please keep up to date with me. I mean, I don't want to hold you any further because the sound and you're having the issues with hearing me. But yeah, Darren, I appreciate the perspective. You really provided a lot for the audience right outside of the home, and I can't thank you enough for doing that. Thank you, my friend.
Love you, Ron. Love your listeners. Doing what you're doing, getting the word out there. That's the real word, not something that's fabricated.
Appreciate that. Dr. Darren Porcher on location outside of his hotel. Thank you so much for being here, Darren. All right, there he goes. Dr. D gave some really good perspective. And listen, everybody has their thoughts on this. You don't have to align with what he was saying. But at the end of the day, I have my good friend, I am being bombarded with bosses tonight. I have another retired lieutenant, a fan favorite, retired Lieutenant Commander Joe Cardinale. Joe, how you doing? Happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. Joe, I know that I saw you shaking your head in the green room. I know that we all agree to disagree. This case is just the Bizarro 101 for me, Joe. I've never seen an investigation go like this, and I tried to get Darren to kind of take it from the beginning, and he did somewhat, but I wanted to get his thoughts as a boss about that front of that house and and I keep going back to this because this is a sticking point that's going to come up in court. Why didn't you secure a scene when the woman is still not, we don't know if she's dead or alive, early on? You let the sheriff's deputies drive away. Reporters had a free-for-all. People who are gawking had a free-for-all. Pizza delivery guys, Amazon drivers, you name it. And we had pool guys on day 12 cleaning the freaking pool.
Yep. And this is what we said time and time again, Ron. And you and I have been to so many crime scenes. Ed's processed more than anybody could beat you, in his career. Like you got to multiply that by hundreds. But here's the thing. When this police department went there and they said there's a missing woman.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Like I don't know if this is like comes to an end pretty soon or like if we just keep going through the motions like we're going through and I'm still steady in tune through the rest of which I'm pretty sure I will be. I don't even know if I might just cry, dude. I'm not even going to lie. Like this is a lot. This is a lot. Like, I've never thought about somebody so much until now. Like, this is a lot. Like, I can't stop thinking about this lady out there somewhere. It really, really hurts. Like, this is really going to hurt when we really get to the bottom of this.
They see blood. They were more concerned with the inside of that house than they were with the outside of it. They thought they could contain it to that area. They weren't thinking ahead saying, we're going to have to search the area. We're going to have to make this entire premise a crime scene. And why we say that is because they kept going back to go to the septic tank, to go back and take other, pictures, and to go back there, and they go in, they come out, they go in there. You and I have said it with Ed. Me, I call you guys. You guys call me up. I'm saying lock that place down. We send 2 cars there,
right,
if we have to, and you send 4 bodies if you have to. Put 2 people in the back of the house,
right,
because I'm live with Fox and I'm watching their drone, and there's a guy walking around to the left of the house. Then you have pizza deliveries. I mean, it's comical to some people, but it's not comical to me.
Yeah,
all right, because we take these crime scenes serious.
Yeah.
Right? And Ron, I got to tell you, it's getting to the point where you and I discussed it, and I discussed it live last night. I don't know whether you saw. We hit it as soon as it jumped off
right away,
and it was like a fluid situation. And I can answer something that you asked Darren before. Have you ever seen no arrest with that? There's a reason for this right now. They're working off a tip line. They're working off of people who are providing evidence, so-called evidence. And just like I was on with Mark Garagos last night and John Bueller from the Lacey Peterson case, John did a great job of addressing all the other what ifs, because it came up at trial, and Mark made sure he put it up at trial. And let me tell you something: the fact that he addressed all those things was key during the criminal, case, during the what do you call it, Scott Peterson's case. It was key because they couldn't blame. They said, no, we addressed that. It's not true. Every time they brought something, no, I addressed that too. Right. That's what's happening here. But here's the thing that people are missing. When you get the statements from these individuals, you're documenting those statements. We always go back and see if they recant. You know that. And if they recant to a degree that's unacceptable, you know you're onto something. So it's not like they're going anyplace. I think the one crime scene, that car was tied into it last night, but they went in there and they did what they had to do because something brought them there, and they had enough to satisfy, the requirements for a federal magistrate to issue that warrant. All right, so things are moving. I think this is just everything fast forwarding since the kidnapping was put on the other side, and they said we're going ahead with a more serious crime over here right now. And you had on some great guests the other night with the equines in it. I thought that was fabulous. That what they can offer for this search.
Joe, EquiSearch Midwest. I've been friends with them since Gabby Petito's disappearance. We did a fundraiser and raised over $20,000 for them in 4 hours on YouTube. And I only had about 100,000 subscribers at the time. So we're going to do it again. Hey, I want to address this comment here. And this is not, I'm not, attacking this person here. It's, they say, whatever happened to Back in the Blue? I'm going to let you go. But I first want to highlight this. I am all for Back in the Blue when they do the right thing. But I'm not going to be some schlep that's going to back the Blue with just on anything that goes on. When we see something, we call the balls and strikes. If we see something that's good, we toot the horn. If we see something that's bad, we would be just as bad as them, as if we said, you know what, they did the right thing here, leave them alone, cut them some slack. No, that's not what you would want if this was your family member. So these kind of statements, I mean, I'm not mad or anything, but I just want to reiterate for everybody that's looking at this statement and this comment, if we would have backed the Blue on everything that they did, that would not be good. Because when there's a mistake and where there's something that is in our expertise that we know what's right and wrong. And look at the Karen Reed case. I lost friends over that case that are cops, that are retired cops, because they didn't think what Ed and myself were saying was fair. But we called the balls and strikes. And when someone drops the ball, you have to call them out. And if you don't, shame on you. Joe, your thoughts as an executive. You're a retired executive from the largest police department in the United States.
To your listeners, your viewers, I have to tell you something. This is nothing. What Ron is saying and what I say and what other people say, you could say it's Monday morning quarterbacking. It's not. It's just mistakes that were made. If you think we're tough, wait until the defense attorneys get a hold of this. All right? Whoever has to represent these dirtbags. All right? And that's the key. And that's the point. When you screw up to a degree, and you have to sit back and say, whoa, you know what? I screwed up and I could do this and I could do that. If somebody beats a case because of that, that's on you. All right. And that's something you have to live with. Right. In the Karen Reed case, what you were just speaking about, I was on with you for that, Ron. And I turned around and I said, kudos to you, because it was a screw up. And you know what the bottom line for me was? And I'll say it anytime, anywhere. We still have a dead cop that's still unaccounted for in that case. So if you want to talk about back the blue on the brother that was lost, and there's still no justice for him or his family. So that, that we could go back to that, and we could go back and forth all night long on that one. But over here, it's I understand. Darren was saying there's Tucson and there's Pima. It's not the point. The point is, if they didn't know, I think the detectives could have, stepped in and said, you know what? I think we need to keep a car there. But maybe they thought they were finished with the crime scene. But the problem is, once you give that crime scene up like that, you're done.
Joe, as a boss, Joe, I'm not. I hate to interrupt you because I love your take and everything that you give here. But as a boss, I'm asking you: does the cop make the decision and say, you know what, Sheriff Deputy 269 at the Guthrie home, I'm leaving. I'm going 98. That's our little code for going back to patrol in New York City. Is it his call, or is it the boss's call? And does that boss report back to the big boss, the sheriff? We just cut the crime scene loose. We cut the units loose.
I don't know what the chain of command was that night, what it was over there, but I'll tell you right now, in absence, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, in absence of me not being there and you having me on the phone saying, boss, what do you want to do? I'm telling Ed, lock that scene down until I get there. Make sure nobody goes in there. Listen, it's something that we know. They may not know that to that degree. I understand that. But the thing is, even when besides us, there's been every outlet speaking about this incident, all right, about the lack of locking down the crime scene.
It's on the national stage.
It's on the national stage. So at what point do you turn around and say, I'm going to put a car there? And then when you do put a car there, there's a pizza delivery there. I mean,
yeah, Nancy, I agree. If this was my mom, I would definitely be on the same tip as you. I'd be in different states. And they're calling the way we speak, defense attorneys speak too. Say, hey, look into this, look into that. Don't play with me. I'm looking for my mama.
We need to go back into a crime scene.
I don't care what the media is doing. They can follow me too. I'm looking for her.
Crime scene.
Even better, I got more people with me. More support, the better.
We can go back to OJ with this.
We need to hold our cops to a higher standard, and all ranks and file across the United States and across the world, for that matter, they need to be held to a higher standard. And when Ed sees these crime scene mess ups where you have blood droplets coming up to the house, and Ed even looked for swabbing because he's got a keen eye for this, Lieutenant.
Yeah, if they were done, they should have cleaned that up.
Blood's been swabbed, and we looked it over. And of course, we didn't have all of the footage. They definitely swabbed it because it came back positive for Nancy, but that blood trail led all the way to that driveway where Dr. Darren Porcher was sitting with the gravel and everything. So that blood stain, those blood trails went all the way out, indicating that she was taken out of that house, whether on her own or being carried out. We don't know. There's a lot of unknowns here, but my biggest problem is when you start from the get-go on a case, no matter how big or how small it is. Now, this could be you, me, or any of our families. And if this happened to me, I would be standing on the rooftop, shouting it out from the rooftops. What is going on here? I would be at that sheriff's office if I was the Guthrie family and demanding, what are you doing? Why are you denying the FBI taking evidence back to Quantico and using your lab down in Florida? That to me is like, and I'm not an expert at the evidence collection and processing, but Ed Wallace is. And the first thing I asked him when that happened, I asked Ed. I turned to him for a lot of information, and I said, Ed, what's going on here? And he said, a whole lot of wrong. So if I hear that from Ed Wallace, I take it as Bible. So
yeah, you're right. And Ron, I got to tell you something. We look at this so differently than most people do. I most certainly do, because I'm looking at it like, let's get back to the original crime. We still have so many questions that are unanswered over here, but we went so fast from one crime to the next crime, which is kidnapping, and they're dealing with the what was appeared to be a kidnapping, and they're supposedly making the dialogue. We saw that. We saw the FBI step in. They were great with that. With the how they had to read the message, what should be put in the message, and then we go. All of a sudden, it stops and it goes back to the original investigation, and it becomes very somber, for lack of a better word. It becomes very somber, and we're all guessing the same thing.
Shannon says, I know a lot of... Hold on. I seen something there. Shannon says, I know a lot of elderly people are stubborn and want their independence, but you need to make sure they have a good security personal alarm bracelet, etc., especially with the medical problems Nancy had. Yes, indeed. I also don't feel like she should have been living alone. I really don't. But a lot of people, older people, do want to live a lonely life by themselves, especially when they're, if they had a husband that's no longer here. A lot of people still have that tendency to want to just live at home alone, and I don't get that. I would never want to live in a home alone, especially not in a really big home like that. To me, that would be kind of scary. But that's just me, though. But from what I heard, Jenny, there was nothing else taken from the home. I overheard somebody saying jewelry, but I don't think that was true. We really don't know. There's a lot of not knows because of them not holding a press. These sheriffs need to hold the press. They need to kind of let us know what's going on. I feel like the public's been the most helpful, if anything.
Listen, we said it before. This is an 84-year-old woman with health problems, this and that. This doesn't look good. But I'll tell you something else. If all these tips that are coming in, that are pointing to this and pointing to that, they're not pointing to where, they're pointing to individuals that could be involved with this. If the sheriff's department, the FBI, or anybody that's involved with this investigation right now, whether on the state level or whatever, if they actually thought that they were going to a location where they thought Nancy Guthrie was being held, don't you think there would be EMTs on site with them? I haven't seen one ambulance on site when they roll on these things. Not one.
Guys, if you're plugging in, welcome to the stream. Big welcomes, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight. Don't forget to give the stream a thumbs up, as well as subscribing to the YouTube channel here if you're enjoying the stream here.
All right, so that tells me a lot too. All right, they're doing what they have to do right now is the bottom line. The one thing I do disagree with, while I respect the sheriff's decision and that department's decision to send it to their lab, there's nothing that, and even Ed said they could send it to them, but you missed that one transfer right then and there from Quantico where they already have CODIS. Now you have to bring that there to get in. So if time is of the element right now, of the essence right now, and that's one of the key elements here is time. You don't want to waste time going to two different labs, and contractually or not, you can bring it to the FBI because you're not hiring somebody else. They're paying for it. They're taking it, so you're not.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty stupid. They should have given that glove to that FBI so that they could send it out and get the DNA from that. Maybe through the FBI. It might have been even quicker too if they would have just gave that glove to the FBI so they could get the DNA results. But turns out to be that there was no DNA on that glove that was related to anything that had to do with the Nancy Guthrie investigation. So it's kind of crazy to me. And also when the sheriff spoke out and spoke about the glove, he said that the glove was never found in the home. But at one point, it was supposedly found in the home. I don't know. It's been super confusing.
In violation of anything there.
And I want to state one more thing further. If they're dealing with touch DNA, we saw this in the Kohlberger case. We saw it in many other cases. If you send it out to a lab and they use all of the touch DNA, it's done. You can't use it again. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that lab in Florida is top notch. They're probably top notch. Most of these are. Ortham Labs over in Texas, unbelievable. They were instrumental in getting Rex Heuermann, the Long Island serial killer, in custody.
Frank says, if one of my kids was a wealthy celebrity, I expect to live in a luxury seniors residence with all. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that one, man. I feel like I should be at home with my daughter or whoever my wealthy daughter is, because if she's super wealthy, then why wouldn't she be able to have the money to kind of care for me in her own home, you know? Excuse me. But if she's at work a lot and I need some type of care provider, we have the money, so why would I need to be at a luxury residential home? Which I guess the residential home wouldn't be bad either, but I also feel like she could have also moved out there with Savannah, although maybe Savannah didn't want her to live with her and she didn't want to leave home because she liked living alone. Who knows? But I definitely for me personally, if I had a rich kid, I wouldn't want to be in a luxury residential like assisted living home. I don't think so. Or not assisted living, but a retired home, or a home, whatever you call that home, where people go and live when they need some type of assistance. But I just definitely wouldn't want to be in one of those type of homes. I'd rather be at actual home or being taken care of by my children. But you know how it goes. Most people don't give the time to take care of their parents when they grow old. They don't want to do that.
7 murders attached to his case. Ortham Labs worked on the pizza crust. They came up with the profile. A state trooper, a female state trooper that was working on the task force, also had instrumental investigatory skills as it pertains to getting Rex Heuermann with the vehicles. So there's just such a great collaboration, and we work so well with the FBI. Okay, 26 Federal Plazas right in Manhattan. We have the Joint Terrorist Task Force, the JTTF. This sheriff, and it's not just me. Brian Enton interviewed an undersheriff. Did you see that interview that he did?
Yes, I did.
That was eye-opening, and I have it saved. We're going to play that later in the show. The undersheriff, which is like the executives, one of the many executives that worked under the Pima County Sheriff current, talked about a 2016 incident where the FBI was investigating not Pima County Sheriff Nanos, but some of his coworkers, some of his colleagues. And he was promised by the FBI that he would be kept apprised of how the investigation goes. And you know how the FBI works. You know, once their bosses tell them, hey, mum's the word on this, nobody's going to get notification until we get to the end, until we get to the promised land. That's what happened with him. And per this retired 40-year executive of the Pima County, he was an undersheriff, he stated that this guy has deep disdain for the FBI. That was 2016. Fast forward to today, does he still hold that grudge? I don't know. But I would say this. I would say this to you guys watching. If you have a small to medium-sized police department, which the Pima County Sheriffs, what did you say, Joe? 550, 600 sworn, and a bunch of volunteers. We saw a volunteer, I believe, last night doing the cones and the traffic control at the warrant scene 2 miles out.
Yeah, I thought that was crazy.
If you are offered the full resources of the FBI and you have the President of the United States talking about this case, wouldn't you be like, oh, what a relief. I got a bunch of competent men and women of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, unbelievable amount of resources, unbelievable amount of capabilities. They do those geofencing warrants that I talked about on day 2 or 3.
Yeah,
I
now
talked about that on the live stream.
he's
Dr.
got some solid
Darren
points of view.
tonight talked about a geofencing warrant. That is what's up their alley. This is what they love to do. This is what they live for. So if you have, I don't care what your problems were in the past, you have a current situation where, we work for the people. We work for the victims. We work for their families to bring justice. And with this case,
yeah, Frank, I agree. I've never ever watched the Today Show. I wonder if they got Savannah's interview with the Epsteins. I wonder.
To see and hear, and now all of a sudden I'm hearing these interviews where he talks about Nobody's been cleared. But in a previous statement on X, it said the Guthrie family was cleared. So, like, where are we here? What is going on?
I don't know how he makes that statement that the unless he knows for sure that the Guthrie family is cleared on this. But you and I have gone over this, and Ed as much. That's the nucleus of this investigation, is the beginning of it, when we do the victimology and we find out, where's the weak link with this? Who's got the most to gain from this?
So Savannah interviewed 5 Epstein victims in 2019. That's insane.
All right. And that's what we did. Ron, you bring up a great point.
Why is there no video on it?
I'm dating myself, but way back when, I don't want to say how far back, we did the Latin King case with King Tone and King Blood. Very big case. Worked very well with the feds. Everything went streamlined. Bosses worked things out. We went out in the field. We actually went out in the field with them, made apprehensions and everything. We didn't care about egos or anything like that. And then after that comes 9/11. All right. And after 9/11, things really got pushed. The pedal got pushed in the metal.
Mm-hmm.
The FBI is a big department in this country. Has been there saying, we have the resources. Let us help you. All right. And that's what they do, because they have the greatest assets across this country as far as helping and being an asset to.
So where would I see that video?
Why wouldn't you welcome them to do something?
Yeah,
so anybody who says
I'm quite upset
that it's
too.
an ego
I'm pretty
problem,
upset.
You bring ego into a case like
I kept telling my girl all day how upset I was. I'm pretty upset about the way this whole thing has been going down. Guys, I gotta thank you guys so much for stopping by and plugging in tonight. I am gonna get off stream here. It's 5 a.m. for me. Hopefully we'll catch JLR live tomorrow's actually later today. Mr. Boots on the Ground is everywhere. I am going to end the stream on that note. I am getting fairly tired here, and I definitely need to go to bed. I got to get up early, so I'm probably going to get like an hour or 2 hours of sleep, because at first I wasn't going to stream, but I was like, you know what? I got to get on tonight, man. It's bothering me. I can't stop thinking about this, man. It's weighing on my mind, and I just truly hope that they bring Nancy home. I really do. It's really tough at this point not to think that Nancy isn't alive, but I'm trying to stay positive through this whole thing. But it's super hard to stay positive, just considering it's been 15 goddamn days now. Makes me upset, man. Just makes me mad. Tune in with me tomorrow night, guys. I appreciate y'all stopping by and plugging in with your boy. Subscribe to the channel so that way you get that notification the next time I go live. Make sure y'all plug in. Thanks for talking to me tonight. We'll talk tomorrow, guys. Big salute, y'all. Catch y'all mañana.
He was just on the outskirts of the outer perimeter. He was just right on the outskirts of that. But you know what?